Same bad time.
In takeover mode.
Why not? Look, the market is obviously making some moves back into the downside. We got 2 hours and 20 minutes till Nvidia earnings, but don't worry, there's obviously more to go until then. GameStop was moving around. It's not really anymore. I think it was winning the poll. Well, I don't know. We'll get to it. It was really tight between GameStop and
poll is hot.
And Coinbase, I think, as everyone was talking about it. I'm not in GameStop right now, but it's a stock that I'm watching. I was in it off that 29 sort of breakaway, and then when it lost 29.10, I'm out. I want to see if it can hold on to VWAP in here because it was kind of the midday mover and was moving pretty well. Mara's up 17% along with that move in Bitcoin. So I think that's got to be on watch. The two names I think that I'm more paying attention to, GME and oh goodness, and MR and Mara in there as that chart just hates me. There is Mara on the black chart where you can actually see that it's up that 17% and holding on to trend from the entirety of the day. So a lot to watch. But I feel like if the market doesn't do crazy moves, you want to be in a crypto type name. You want to look at something like a GameStop and see if we can get some action there.
Yeah, we just short just a little bit. I mean, off VWAP, boom, 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 boom. Came back from the gym, sat down. Thank you to Ramin. She hooked me up with the tuna. So we like that one. I traded her the chicken for the tuna.
Good trade.
Was it a good trade? Okay. I'll take it. It wasn't that good.
Well, I take the tuna.
Oh, okay.
I take the tuna over that chicken.
Yeah. Okay.
It was. I had the chicken, obviously.
I didn't realize Ramin's always the pescatarian option. So she's always going to have fish. So.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll have to battle for it. Okay. So just good moves down there. You know, always looking foolish because why didn't we get it all out when it came right back into this level? Shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't at the end of the day, right? Coulda took it all out right there, didn't do it. Now it's on its way back up. I don't know, man. Like we'll talk more about obviously something called what is it? Oh, Nvidia. Yeah, so you know that's going to come through here in just a matter of time, and it should be a great report. It's going to really I think it's going to be a big one. That's just I don't know which way it's going to go here. I mean I think its upside would be my opinion, but again that's rose-colored glasses. Being a shareholder, I think we would all hope that it would report higher. Or at least guide higher or figure it out. At the end of the day, though, I don't know. We're underneath. So that made me flip over shorting the market. So, you know, that's what I've been doing right here, just kind of hanging out, shorting the market. And, yeah, that's about it. Not too much else during the pre-market. Oh, I was able to come back and we had that 4% of IBIT still left on. Now I have 2% of IBIT left on. We're able to get it back out at VWAP there. That turned out to be the high. I didn't think shorting VWAP was going to be the trade today, especially in this space, but it looks like it is. So yeah, now we're underneath here as crypto sort of went crazy in the morning and it still is great. What is it, 93.4? Oh, hold on a second. Let me see what we have it at there. 93.7. So crypto's still in play for sure. Looking to reload again, maybe in and around 53 flat. Right there, but I promise we'll go over a lot of names. Yeah, I feel you're right a little bit there, Tony. Tricky day today. Oh, I like that, Sebastian. The Katina Chaos Club is back. The three C's. Hopefully, it's not too much chaos. I'm going to see Sebastian Maniscalco this weekend at Scotiabank, so that should be huge. Who said who over there? Ramin? Yeah, he's good. Yeah,
obviously
Italian comedic there.
Obviously
comedian.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, he's funny. So we should be able to have some fun there. All right. So when we're ready, yeah, we'll throw it over to we'll throw it over to Sharif at the big desk, and we'll start going over whatever you guys want.
Welcome, guys, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Big Kahunas, locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers decided by you. And we have a new way to vote, so make sure you're joining us during the midday chat or midday show and get into the chat and click whichever name you like that pops up in the poll there. We'll do 2 polls, one in the beginning of the show and one halfway through. Let's look at the major averages. They're all in red territory. Here's the look at the NQ, down about 2/3% right now, or sorry, more than that, 0.84. The ES also down about 2/3%, and the Dow faring the best out of the 4, down 1/4, and the Russell taking it on the chin today, down 0.6. So we'll keep an eye on the major averages. But the first ticker, as decided by you, there is really no surprise here. Nvidia reporting after the bell today. Make sure to catch that with Neil on the market recap show. Selling off a little bit here with the overall market down over 2%. according to this article, some analysts that have been known to be the most accurate of the bunch revising their earnings forecast ahead of the report today, guys.
Ooh. That's
like that.
that's like a very elite next level intro.
It really is. It just takes it to a whole.
We want to thank everybody. We want to thank everybody, honestly, for the super chats and for everything that everybody commits to the show, because that's what it goes into, right? More technology, smarter people working on the desk, right, Fabian?
Making it bigger and better.
And we want to just thank everybody for the continued support. And we're going to keep on working on hopefully cool things like that. It's so cool. I think we should hit it again if we're able to. Do you want to hit it again, Fabian?
Do it.
How hard is it to light that thing up? That rundown. There it is. And how awesome is that? You even got Sharif standing there.
It's perfect.
You know, hey. Okay, you have Nvidia up on your screen there. I mean, I sort of, I'll talk about it after you because why not?
Yeah, just to run through. I mean, look, they report at 4:20 today, calls at 5 o'clock, so they'll be toward the end of the, the end of the aftermarket session. The couple of things to keep in mind. I think they were 14%. Previous move, check that.
What is the expected move?
No, the expected move is 8.6%. Okay. Previous move was 6.4% to the downside. So last time they were down 6%. And part of that was the earnings surprise was the smallest one over the last year. So they beat, but it was the smallest beat that they had in a while. So GameStop. GameStop just pulled back into VWAP. That's why it was on my mind. So we had mentioned we're looking at that at VWAP. But Nvidia, I liked 146 on Nvidia. And there was maybe about 5 to 15 seconds when that was a good bounce this morning. Somewhere in that range. It might have been a little bit longer, but I don't think it was very much longer. So I got the you-know-what out of Dodge when that happened, and I went over to AMD and ARM, AMD to the south side, which I feel like I should try to get back in. It just doesn't seem to want to pop enough, and it was just a rollover at VWAP. Now this one is taking it on the chin, and I couldn't believe it. And we'll get to AMD a little bit later on the show when we get a chance. I can't believe AMD is going to be at those March lows, or sort of the August lows pretty darn quick. But Nvidia, as strong as it was yesterday, it's almost as weak today. It hasn't given up the entirety of the move, but it feels like it wants to retest. Kind of a random bottom there at 143. But support, there was a lot of support down at 142. It'll be interesting to see if this continues to head downside, if it does catch a little bit of a bid. So all that buying going into what we thought was earnings, and most of the afternoon move has been reversed here today on Nvidia. But remember, all-time highs are not that far.
Pennies away.
Pennies away. Well, they were.
I mean, dollars away, yeah. I mean, we've been up there again. The bear rears its ugly head one more time, as not often do you get to right the wrongs. And we had said last time that we hadn't got out enough when it was down here. We're not making that mistake again. So there it is, man. We take out another piece right there. So far in total, I'd say we probably have about 20% left, which is, I'm very, very comfortable with that. What I was going to get at with Nvidia is pretty simple. And I said this to Sharif, and I guess I was kind of wrong. I mean, I tried to defend this 200 period and 50 period. And then after we had done trade that about 1 o'clock, it was kind of like, you know what? Maybe Nvidia just doesn't do much here at the end of the day. And comes in, and we kind of trade sideways. So then I was like, okay, well, then let's look for something else. And that's where we found the market. And the market was down 1%. We got up to VWAP. So that's where it was hammer time for me on that, which is what we did. But Nvidia is also following the market right now. I thought we might have some sideways chop, and maybe it wouldn't have been, and this is what I was saying about, what I was telling Sharif. I thought it would be very, very sideways, but it has pulled off real nicely off of VWAP of 145, now down about that $1.50, and it's getting back into some support areas that I thought was support, 143, and that's where we made all the money back there on Nvidia. We lost, or we got in and out here. I think we wound up negative on all of that kind of stuff, but back in, and then we turned positive on Nvidia when it went from the bottom of the day, which we had just kind of by fluke, not by fluke, but we just kept on trying, and eventually we made all it back. So we always talk about taking small paper cuts, and that was the big lesson that I learned today with Nvidia, because we had liked 146, 145, but every single time we were patient, we waited for our price to come in, and then when it finally did, we had it on the way back. So that's pretty much for me. This is the perfect trade. All of this is just, hey man, you take your shots, and at some point you wind up winning. And That's what happened there with Nvidia. So for me, it was a pretty simple trade. Now I wait. I've already called 170. I think we can, whoopsies. I think we can get to 170 on Nvidia on a good report. So there's that 149. I mean, we had some troubles up here, so that's for sure. It was looking like a lot better call when we were making it when the stock was up here at 147 yesterday. But right now, downside push. If the move is only supposed to be 8 or 9%, you know, you're only going to get 15 bucks on this. So that only puts us back like to 160. So that 170 is going to be an outside play, but I still think it's valid and something that we could catch. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening here with Nvidia today. I'm not sure it's going to be much of a trade into the close. Let's wait to see what that imbalance is. Maybe at 350, we can strike.
Sounds good, Sean. Yeah, let's have a look at here at Coinbase and IBIT. Threw them together with Bitcoin making a new, fresh all-time high today. Earlier in the day, good look. Coinbase is down, though, about 3 2/3%, selling off with the overall market. There was this headline coming in from yesterday. Trump and Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong reportedly in talks over a cabinet appointment. Still no details more than that. We'll have to hold our breath and see exactly what happens there. Separately, BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF and all the spot Bitcoin ETFs optionable as of yesterday, so keep an eye on that, adding liquidity. And we saw about $9 billion of volume in the first few hours there with respect to the options for IBIT. Here it is, up on the day about 1.16%. Doing a little bit better than Coinbase, guys.
I mean,
what's on there?
A little bit better than Coinbase. It's doing a lot better than Coinbase. I mean,
why is Coinbase doing so badly, though?
Oh, Coinbase, like it's
down 4.
Today the crypto world is completely divided. You've got Mara mooning, you've got Coinbase taking it on the chin. You had Bitcoin, so you had IBIT, Bitcoin, same thing. That was breaking early, now trending back in there. But if we're starting with Coinbase, this was a simple failed breakout at 330. So there's your top at 330. And it obviously, I mean, it worked in the pre-market. Like if you were long this break in the pre-market, but then right at the open, it just got right above 35 and then complete and utter reversal. It's been trend down pretty much ever since. There was a decent bounce, but it could not get back in to retake Oh, that's my Mara chart. That's
VWAP.
Oh yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, that Mara chart's gonna be a problem. But Coinbase couldn't get back into VWAP, which is now failing underneath. So not a very good look for them. It's a very different story, however, for IBIT. I'm gonna stick with the 15, and IBIT did the break. We did get to another all-time high. It was able to go back into previous highs, but it barcoded at $54 on IBIT. That corresponds with the inability to break 95,000. So I think we got to 94.7 something, maybe 94.8, close enough, but you just weren't able to quite get there, and then a rollover. And once we failed 54, at some point, like it just did this trend reversal on IBIT. And I tried one more reload that did not work. So the early longs were pretty much what carried it on IBIT, and even Mara, which I'm going to show again on the 15-minute chart, is pulling a little bit of a reversion. It did one earlier, but this one is the day-long reversion now on MIRA. This is the strongest of all the crypto-related names. I think even it's outpacing MSTR, but this is the one I'm in. I've done a couple of reversion plays on it, just kind of waiting for it to do a trend break and then jumping into it. But man, Coinbase is really taking it on the chin today, and it just never could catch a bid.
Ever since IBIT's basically been around, I have focused more attention on IBIT than even Coinbase. And I think, sometimes it's a mistake. Like you focus on one thing and not on the other. But today, this is not today's, this is a couple days ago. So hold on a second here. Someone must have commented on that. All right, we're gonna have to find this. But today we wrote down 53.50 on IBIT. Right there it is right there. So 53.50 long. And that was a pretty good call, obviously, off the open. And it's only a good call because it just came in and landed right in our lap, and then we were able to take it out on the way up. Like it was just like Merry Christmas there, came early there. And it was just, boom, fell right into it. And why did we write down 53.50? It was kind of just like the bottom of the day there in the pre-market, that little jump up spot that we had. I thought there could have been something there. And then yesterday, it was this level that we were just hovering around. I always pick 50s. Like, if it was 75, I could have done 75. Like, I could have used this level too. That's 64s though. Like if that was 75, I might have used that. I like to use 50, 75, 25, things like that. So if you ever notice and you're on the sticky note, like Palantir is 61.50 and targets 130, 250, and things like that. So I sat there, the level made sense to me, and we were able to take it out, and it was a really big one. And then we wound up holding, I told you about 10%, got it out on the way up. We were going to get like 2 or 3% of our position left. And then we were, never do this, but we left a position on, don't tell anybody. We did have a stop order in, but it was only, again, for 4% of what we had. Then we came back, we realized, okay, we're being stupid here. It keeps on hitting off VWAP. Then we got a piece out there, and now we're holding one small piece against us, the 2% position. I was thinking about 53 long now. If we're going to play 50 cents, why not play the full dollar? So for me on IBIT, that's what that is. And then, 93.6, if you just want to look at Bitcoin in general, it's just one of those days for Bitcoin. It's very, very choppy here in the last little bit. A big run up, choppy at the top, big move down, kind of choppy in the middle, and we're just kind of legging down. So I kind of think the next move would be downside on this, but I'm very, very bullish on Bitcoin. You'd like to start to get bullish again, not just breaking here 94.3, but I think you got to get above that 95 area, 94.8 again. Just too much back and forth here to say, oh, if we break this, we really want to go long. There's not much there considering what the downside is off of a triple top. So for me, maybe Bitcoin takes a little bit of a breather in the next day, but I mean, that's just a 1 minute chart. Bitcoin is wild. And I put some stop orders out, not stop orders, some take profit orders out on many of the, I was even looking up XLM. Like the fact that this thing is still moving is amazing to me. So I was thinking about, you guys just sort of caught me there looking at one of my holdings there. But if you go down, some of these names that are just up so much, Ethereum's down 7% on the week.
It's pitiful.
So you got to think about that. Ripple is the one that's done real well. So, what's up with that? And then there's that Cardano 35 spot. So there's some pick and chooser spots. There's Shiba Inu. Obi was talking about, and it's getting closer and closer now. I don't know why Ripple was just so up there a couple days ago, but there's Dogecoin. Obi was saying that he wanted Dogecoin to take over spot 6 there. So it's getting pretty close. Yeah, Dogecoin to the moon. We got you over there. Obi there. It's not too far away.
It's close.
The market cap is right there. What was the market cap this morning? 3.2. So we're still hovering.
It was what was it? Bitcoin passed the Canadian dollar in terms of overall overall size and market cap, which is intense because Canada's not that big. But it just shows the overall market for crypto is.
I think there's still a lot of people underinvested because we had that poll, 50%. Of which everybody was like, still, in my opinion, a little underinvested there with crypto. But the thing is, guys, you guys can get into the pool. Are you ready to put your trading skills to the test? Join us at Trade the Pool and Trader TV Live as we have a stock trading competition. We've got some exciting prizes lined up for everybody, including a massive $160,000 extra buying power valuation for first place. All you got to do is win and you get $160K extra. We'll take that. And not only that, it's not just for first place, Neil. It's for the top 20 places right there. The competition kicks off December 2nd and runs through December 6th. And the winners will be announced shortly after that on the 9th. This competition is your opportunity to push your limits and see how far your skills can take you. Mark your calendars. Click on that link in description or scan that QR code right there to get all the details and join that exciting new offering from Trade the Pools. Sharif.
Shout out to Trade the Pool. All right, guys, unusual options activity detected here on GameStop. Not really a surprise there as it started moving quite aggressively during the midday, coming well off the highs right now, about 2.75%. Yeah, this article talks about 45 different options contracts or clumps of options contracts that they detected that were unusual according to them. About 51% of those were bearish, which kind of went against the thesis today with this one being up 2 2/3, guys.
In GameStop, sometimes GameStop just wants to go.
It never stops. It never stops.
Obviously, it never has to make a ton of sense with GameStop or any meme stock in a general sense. But today, it's not an outsized move in GameStop, but it came really close. We were talking about that $30 break, which obviously it didn't happen. It got really close to breaking $30. $29.80, which was another. Almost to the penny. I think that was this July top there at $29.80, so maybe should have respected that $29.80 level a little bit more. And when it double tapped it, I was still holding on to the last 10% of that 28 quarter long. And got out of it when it lost 28.15, tried a VWAP, which just came out. Now that you're underneath VWAP, it's on the back end of the trade. If anything, it feels like it's a little bit done. You actually could have got away with the old obviously short the thing that has no business going with it. Like AMC and GameStop aren't connected really anymore. And so when AMC finally started going and there was a double top on GameStop, when it failed a double top, like you had this all the way back into VWAP. It was 55 with a 57 top. So you could have been risking 2 or 3 cents to get it to now where it's 10. I think the trade sometimes, if you prefer shorting something that isn't going meme crazy, just if you happen to see this one go, like AMC go with GME, then maybe short the other one instead. GameStop underneath VWAP now. I don't think it's completely done. I think for at least the rest of the week, while it's consolidating around here above $28, give it a chance to maybe make this run at the 30 level. Because it still looks pretty good. Like it's trending. It's been trending since the end of October. It's consolidating a higher low. All it has to do is break out that 30 level, and then you got some real upside. Like the last of that roaring kitty nonsense was, I remember thinking it was 32.
Well, it's not nonsense. Not nonsense. You know.
Well, that call was nonsense.
That was the worst.
Look,
I lost money on it.
First of all,
I thought that was great entertainment. But
it was great entertainment, but we just basically sat there only trying to long the stock. And all you had to do that day of his stream, it wasn't a call, it was a stream. I don't know why I'm calling it a conference. It was a stream.
Oh, whatever you want.
All you do is go short. The second it was delayed, short it. Every single pop,
that was
shorted. And it was ridiculous because we were just buying every single dip. Well, I was buying a lot of the dips, maybe not every single dip that day. But could break the 30, and then some of those last meme levels in the mid-30s are there. So I do like this still at some point for a 30 break if it can get there. It's just not going to happen today.
SMCI is flushing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a big, a lot of props over there to my guy Fabian. He killed it with the Roaring Kitty costume at Halloween. So shout out to that. Okay, you just talked about GameStop and we can look at AMC and all that. I think the most important thing is you just want to have them up on scanners because once you scan through, they'll be able to see the ones that are doing the volume, right? And right now, DJT seems to be sleeping. I just want to bring it to everyone's attention. Like if you're long this name, it's held $30 all day and kept on coming down and kept on trying to break and threatening the break and all this kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, it never did. And it's only in a 50-cent range. I don't think it's a great trading opportunity right now. But what I really like to see is this. This is a sloping up now 50-period moving average. So, if my wife was in the chat, she'd tell you I'm often wrong. But I wonder if this 26 at some point is going to be something down there. Like, I want to maybe take a shot at this. If we drip into 26, 27, take a shot because, again, I just don't know what those stories are all about. That backstory, like, what's the next thing that they're going to do? We've already seen Rumble move up on talk of, like, owning all this Bitcoin. Like, all DJT has to do is say, you know what? We just had a meeting with Michael Saylor, and we really like his business plan, and this is what we're doing. We're just going to drop an offering of, $100 million, and that's just going to go all into Bitcoin and every single thing we own. Anyways, at the end of the day, I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but if there's any name that might rally on interesting news, it could be DJT, it could be GameStop.
Nice of you to say it that way.
And it could be interesting news. I'm not sure exactly where the news will come from, but that crystal ball of ours.
Well, there's this thing.
All right, Sharif's getting anxious over there because he clocked out 25 minutes ago, but because he's such a professional.
Will DJT?
Okay, keep going.
Will DJT put any of their balance sheet, if they have cash on hand, will DJT put any of their balance sheet into Bitcoin?
If it says anything other than yes, and I don't know.
Why not ask Perplexity? It's what it says.
It might be too political for
I'm not even going to bother because if I put that into Perplexity, you're not getting an answer. So, it doesn't. Yeah.
Sharif said he loves Gemini. All right, back over to the.
What is it with you and Gemini? There's nothing wrong with Gemini, dude. Okay? Stop hating on Gemini. We all own Google stock, okay? Let's be real.
It won't answer you, Neil. That's the thing. It'll tell you, I don't talk about political figures. Here's the thing. All right, guys, Meta next here. Essentially flat, down 0.11. No major news headline today on Meta, but there was this. They did introduce AI backgrounds noise suppression for Messenger. So good luck there. Separately, they did tap former AI chief of Salesforce to lead out their enterprise push. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But flat, guys, ahead of those Nvidia earnings. What I'll be looking for to see how much Jensen says on the call today that is being bought up from these hyperscalers, Meta including in that list.
Thing is being bought up.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I believe in the process there of what NVIDIA is trying to do, obviously. And I think it's going to continue to be a winning name there at the end of the day. Meta, you had a huge run in that. I just want to you mentioned that I had a huge run. Just real quickly here, I just covered the TQs at 75. So right there, 75 and change. So we shorted it on VWAP once, twice, thrice, and however else you go, 5 times. Quint to the downside right there. So a nice move back in. Now just finally covering, and I was saying this before, Randy, you often don't get another chance when you've missed it, and we're lucky enough that it held the 50 period and kept on coming down. This is going to be my P&L number 1, and it's not even close, really, with the TQQs. So, all right.
I remember that.
I didn't even look at Meta.
You said quint, and my first thought was like, I remember that a quince is a fruit. And the reason I know that is because white man can't jump. Yes. And then just to take it back to like something that actually matters, why in the heck was Rosie Perez even on that Tyson fight? I didn't even understand who they were bringing in.
I want whenever she started speaking.
I was like, what are we even doing? No, don't get me wrong.
It's not her accent. It's just she had nothing to say.
Nothing to say. You had 60 million viewers. Netflix, they knocked it out of the park. I'm not knocking
her like the first woman of boxing, and I'm like, first woman of boxing.
I'm like, why? I look for Rosie Perez, legend. White Man Can't Jump was unbelievable.
And she's like, I'm from Brooklyn. So is Mike Tyson. Oh my God.
Fly Girls.
This is crazy.
Legit. I'm not a hater. I don't understand why she was. Like Roy Jones, I get, even though, obviously he took a few shots here.
Best part was Evander Holyfield, man. He just had his glasses on. He was just like wondering how many shares at Netflix he's getting for this thing. He was just like hanging out.
That's what I'm saying.
He was trying to give his little thing there. Lennox Lewis is like, yo, man, we're trying to ask you some questions here. He's like, all right, man, yeah, just ask me the question. He's like, yeah. And anyways, it was hilarious. You obviously didn't see it, but it was.
Well, I didn't watch it live.
But you probably didn't see that interview.
There was a dude on my, on one of my flights. While I was flying on the way there, and I could overhear him talking to his wife about the fight.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to Europe, and he's like, and then she's like, "You're going to get up? You're gonna get up in the middle of the night to watch that?" He's like, "Yeah, it looks pretty interesting."
Yeah, I would have.
Just shaking that. I don't know. I wasn't interested enough to watch it live. I watched all the replays though. Meta, yeah, okay. So Meta, I'll give you the look on. I didn't see a trade today because if you missed the early move. Like the early move down, and then the mean reversion, and then the breakout. We talked about that in the lesson of the day. And then now all of a sudden, it's just a VWAP type play here on Meta at 560. What is interesting to me about Meta is the slight trend that you've got pulling back in. So I've left this channel, even though it broke out the channel and then came back in, the bottom of the channel has been holding on this pullback, which right now corresponds with 540 and corresponds with a prior high. So I'm looking at this 540 level as a buy spot here for Meta. And when we get down, I shouldn't say when, like if we get down there, there's a better way to think about it. I want to look for this channel to hold and start looking for like day trade, maybe even a swing. Whatever, I don't swing Meta. I'd probably just buy it and hold it. Let's be real. So day trade's down there at the 540 level. So I like leaving channels like that in. Then you get some confluence into this 540 level. So any push down, I don't know what's going to take us down there on Meta, but if we do see those 40s, I like the buy down there on this stock. It's flat today, unfortunately, but if you had it early, there was plenty of action in the morning on the stock. Just one quick update here. Crossing my fingers on this Mara chart that it's not going to be a complete. Yeah, whatever. My Mara chart's going to give me issues. So apologies. I'm going to have some missing data on my Mara chart. It gave me an issue earlier. So I am short this one. This is not VWAP because it's missing data. This is the execution, but I can quickly show you here on the black chart, which is absolutely fine. There's the mean reversion trade. It's pulling into 22.6 and then bouncing at this prior key spot, 22.60 to 80. So if it breaks down from here, I want to wait for VWAP and then get it all out. Right now, I'm moving the trail. Well, the stop when I got the entry point was to the prior high. Now the trail is in just above break even right in here, 23.10 on MARA. That's the only thing I'm in right now.
Oh, this is not. Oh, why isn't this playing in the big screen? Here it is. So here's my. So you know, not a concerned father here, but school is on right now.
Well, it should
just let you know, and this is a hockey arena.
That's fine.
Okay, so yeah. So she got pulled from school because the Toronto Scepters is the PWHL hockey team, and she's wearing a Sarah Nurse sweater right here. And then coming up is there's Sarah Nurse right here.
Worth it.
And no, she's already Sarah Nurse knows her name, and she's going to say it here in a second. But at the end of there we go. See, there she says. Anyways, that's what it's all about right there. And yeah, she's met all of the, and that's part of the best thing about this. She's met all of the hockey players, and especially being at where she plays, also Leafs, always crossing in there. So that's something special right there. I just wanted to share that with everybody. All right, so Meta, again, I think Meta rips off. I mean, I think it just rips off of anything that Nvidia says. Like if Nvidia kind of talks about strength in the space there, we already know that what Meta's doing. Didn't they just buy like 100,000 of those? The other one there, unit there from Nvidia, Hopper. Anyways, at the end of the day, Meta, I think, wins at the, they have that advertising business. I feel like there is a little bit of a moat around them as well. But the market hasn't been kind to a lot of these big cap names. So as long as, what I mean by all this stuff with Nvidia is like, as long as Nvidia can like just calm the waters, like everything is fine. We just had a bad thing from SMCI. AMD we see keeps going downside, right? ARM is falling a little bit. Some of these names are starting to give up some of the tops, right? We've looked at TSM, Broadcom. I mean, I think Broadcom's actually holding out okay. Intel's giving back a little bit, right? I mean, look at Broadcom. Nah, I'm wrong. So Broadcom from 186, sorry about that, 186. Look at this. This is a daily chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Basically 8 down days with a little see you later right there. But right to the downside. So NVIDIA needs to come and sort of like quell everything. And if it can do that, then I really think that Meta's a winner. So to me, a secondary play here would be long Meta if you also think NVIDIA is going to be fine. I think this could be the biggest beneficiary. So we'll see tomorrow. But let's think about Meta or NVIDIA beating, and then tomorrow we'll talk about how high up Meta is.
SMCI staved off getting delisted from the NASDAQ late Monday night when they did file the report. They had a decent day yesterday. Down today, it was 11% here, 10.9%. No new catalyst for this one, but it looks as if, despite the fact that they didn't get delisted, they're not convincing a whole lot of analysts, is what this article is stating. Separately, after the bell today, we obviously get NVIDIA earnings. We're going to be all ears to hear what Jensen has to say about the reports of Blackwell, the GB or the B200 GPU. They're overheating when placed in a mass on a server. Obviously, Supermicro has that product. They put these chips together, string them together, and sell them as servers. So it should affect, obviously, some of their stocks. So we'll wait after the bell.
Well, in an interesting coincidence,
huge move down.
It actually just went. A lot just happened on SMCI. It went SSR, so it went 10% down. Actually, more than that. It made a bottoming tail candle here off the 25 level. Then it broke the trend after the flat bottom break here at 25.80, and then closed back above it. So for myself, it's like an entry on the break of this high, giving it to this out, which is just underneath 25, to look for a reversion. Maybe we get to VWAP, certainly 26, 25.80 to 26, a bit of a target. So SMCI, look, they're not out of the water completely. I think the word I've been using is they've gotten a reprieve, meaning they're not at risk of like imminently getting delisted. But they still, they had to show a plan of action to regain compliance, which is what they're doing. They've got a new auditor, so the pieces are in place for them. Obviously, the stock had been under a tremendous amount of pressure, and for 2 days had been looking good. Now you've had the down day pulling back. But what I like about it is yesterday's support was 25, and you're also SSR, and then a trend mean reversion here on SMCI. So it's just a mean reversion play. Like I said, I don't think they're out of the water. That is not the case whatsoever. There's still a tremendous amount of risk in this stock. I feel like all we talk about for them is the delist, but there's the index is getting dropped out of the indice, even if they remain listed. There's a lot that can still go wrong here. Even if they stay listed, do we really think they're going to stay in the S&P?
Well, that's the thing that I don't understand.
With all this, I don't completely know. I'm sure maybe
Why has
you
there
don't
not been
either.
anything talked about that?
Why is nobody saying anything about this? I would think that's a hot topic. How can a company which is this investigation going on and no one's talking about whether it'll be booted from the S&P just on that alone? It's only about the delist. Obviously, they come out of the index if they're delisted, but what if they stay in and there's still enough scandal and the price action or whatever just has them get removed? If that happens, I could see this making another leg down, but who knows?
Yeah, no, we mentioned that yesterday about like why is SMCI not? Why is no one talking about the delist? Because the fastest added, then the fastest removed from the S&P 500. And I mean, you know, tonight we have Snowflake, Palo Alto, we have Nvidia. So there's more than just one name coming there tonight. There's a big gap right here. Like maybe I need to zoom this out just so I can't. Maybe I'll change the. Hold on a second. All right, let me see if I change this to a 10-minute. Actually, hold on. If I do that, we might I might crash everything out. I just want to see what this gap exactly look like. So that's 2350, gap fill higher. Forget about those wicks. Gap fill to 26. So like that 26 breaker right there was quite the trade. It looks like, right? Like right into there. Like that's the trade right there. Oh, damn, shorty. That would have been a good one right there because that's the break you want, the gap fill down in. It's only moved $1. We could easily get that again, but that momentum is kind of what you want there on that break. Looks like it's trying to support it. And if you look back here, again, so not much going on there. I mean, that's 25. I guess you could call that a high. I am more concerned about these gaps here, as like the most recent ones. So that's 2350. So I would think if you're trying to buy anything on SMCI, why not put some bids here between 24 and 2450? That way you can play off of the 8th. Right here, these levels, which is 2450. So you're getting long with some potential support there. And then I think ultimately you have your target area to get out at 2350 if you're wrong. So I think that you're playing like for $1 or so worth of risk, 2450 back into 2350 or so, and then bang, right there back up to the upside. I really, really like that trade if SMCI gives it to you. So into here, into the long, let it try to fill the gap, only knowing that it has some kind of support right there, and then kablooey back up there to the upside. Or
Kablam.
If we do get a flush, your stop is at 2350. So as long as you don't, and again, you know, the one thing that we have to say is if you are trading and you're live trading, then it's fine. But if this happens overnight and the market's not open and we break below this 2350, you know, you could open up the next day. You know, who knows? Like, what if BDO goes, okay, we had a look, and by the way, we're hard pass on being the auditor of this place? I mean, I don't know.
Because this was
Just trying to say, like, you put all your eggs in one basket.
It's not like the previous auditor lasted very long in the first place.
How long? I don't know that story.
Was it a year? Was it even a year?
year?
It might not have been a year. I'd have to double check, but it was not a very long time.
Right.
So like I mean, obviously,
there's something. I mean, obviously, when there's smoke, smoke, there's fire.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
that's why I don't understand how no one's talking about them getting booted from the indices.
I'm sure they are.
They have to be, but why is it not a bigger story?
Nvidia, right?
Because somebody, you know, if you're pushing if you were the one that was pushing, SMCI needs to be added to the S&P 500. You know, that's a hill that somebody probably died on, unfortunately for them. I saw a few people mentioning Netflix in the chat, and this is one I just wanted to quickly just go over Netflix because I feel like Netflix, obviously great run, the Jake Paul fight, you know, record views, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
They had some hiccups, but obviously they had some stuff to work through, and it's been making some fresh highs ever since. Today was a heck of a pullback day. However, I like the fact that remains to be seen. The day has still an hour and a half to go, so I shouldn't get too far ahead of myself. But you had a rejected break. You held on to previous close. Now you're forming a wedge. You're essentially now finding support all over yesterday's highs on Netflix. If it can hold the line here and even just hold on to the 870, that would be a nice consolidation day because it looked like this was going to go into a tailspin today on Netflix. It's worth watching. I know we don't trade it that often because we're always looking for it to split. But I do like the fact that it looked like it was going to completely fall apart and is now catching a little bit of a bid here, holding over that prior high. So, that's kind of the thought on Netflix. Where is it? Yugo. Isn't the S&P 500 automatically selected by market cap? Well, they obviously, so there's a host of conditions that you have to meet to get into the S&P 500 when it comes to profitability and that kind of stuff, to become eligible to it. So I would be, and I don't know this for sure, I would be incredibly surprised if there weren't clauses in there regarding like investigations and all stuff. Like just because you're making a profit and you're a certain size doesn't mean you can have a ridiculous potential scandal and all this potential impropriety, and then there's no consequences for that. So I would wager that something like that exists, kind of like when an NFL player has, or any pro athlete in their contract, you know, they've got some clauses in there that doesn't matter how many yards you're gaining. If you're breaking the law, maybe you lose some of that money. So again, I'm just curious why no one's talking about it, because I would think it would be a topic, and I think it would weigh heavily on the stock. Just want to quickly point out, I'm going to go back to Mara for a second because I just saw this on IBIT. IBIT bouncing back into VWAP. So VWAP sits 53.60. I don't know, that'll probably be like 94,000 maybe, around there. So while that's happening, Mara, I'm going to have to keep using this 15-minute chart so we're not missing bars, is bouncing off some of those lows. So Mara didn't quite get to VWAP, but getting very, very close to it. So I've moved the trail now into 22.65 in here, just off of this level on MARA, which does, actually I didn't, because I didn't cancel my other stop. You can't have two at once. So I have now moved the trail into here on Mara because Bitcoin is making that bounce play. And I don't want it getting to VWAP. Mara's been pretty strong, it's up 13%. So again, just a mean reversion type play. Done it a couple times here on Mara. Obviously going long Mara would have been better. I mean, anybody can see that, but you know, it is what it is. And if you're, I'd rather play a mean reversion than chase a move that I don't like the prices that you're chasing it to. So we just got to 25.50 on SMCI. I'm not going to redraw that trend line because I feel like if I do, I'm going to try to save it again, whatever, I might crash. So 25.60 next stop. You do have, like, VWAP is in there, but remember, this was a trend break off of the flat bottom here at 25.80. So 25.80 to me is the target on this move. And I tried it earlier with a tight stop, like this was a trend inversion, that I'd give to VWAP. You know, I want to hold this one into VWAP because you're playing it off of these lows, and there's no other resistance other than it coming into VWAP at 26.60. In this particular case, because the trend break happened off of this flat bottom here at 25.80, then I want to make sure that that is my target area to get that mean reversion in on SMCI. So it was SSR, now only down 9.5%, but obviously a little bit of a bounce play here for SMCI.
All right. So I'm not just going to talk about the same stocks all over the place. So I was going to go over to Nvidia, but I just wanted to quickly say the TQs has obviously made their move back. We kept on talking about getting those bottoms. So now we're at now we're at a reload spot, and we just got it. So right there at the 50 period, at the 200 period moving average, sorry, that's a good little spot there. But these lines are in the wrong order. It's not supposed to go 50, 200 VWAP. So that was a huge move to the downside. We took it off VWAP. We got out at past support. Now we're trying it one more time, but my stop is right here. So we're going to take like pretty much like 20% we added back on. So it's not going to be a huge trade. If it falls in, great. But the momentum's clearly shifted, and now the NASDAQ wants to go back up to the upside. Now, that's another reload. My stop is 70. It's already in right now, 75.82. Breaking that level. That level's 75s. So, and that's just VWAP, pretty simple right there. This is the NASDAQ. Now, why is the NASDAQ going up? Well, pretty much the missed trade, and I honestly think it was pretty easy, was Nvidia down there. It's really ridiculous that I don't have this. I have the 143s right here. Why do we not have the 143 again? Was just simply was not sitting there. Not paying enough attention. We're doing the rundown. Is it an excuse? Yeah, of course. But I mean, that's a great level there. We want to get long. All we've been writing all week is like get long into these earnings and everything like that. All we were was long today, and it went down right into the bottom of the day. So yeah, that should have been a long. On that note, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? I mean, anybody can look at a chart and say that kind of stuff. I was thinking, now, so Micron's starting to go right now. Now, the thing is that I thought this was a really aggressive move, up $1 on Micron. We're just up $1 on Nvidia as well. Now, I know Nvidia is a $140 name, but I don't think these are the same company, and not only they're not even in the same business really, as this is a DRAM. We're, you know, if you get to 98, like I was debating building into a short, and I think we could probably do it just to watch out what happens at 98. Like we had a huge move down, then a rally and a stop at 97.85, down again, and then another stop right there at 98, down again, this time at VWAP, and now we're trying to break higher. So if Nvidia continues to move up, that's great, but all eyes are going to be on Nvidia. If we can sneak in with a little bit of a short there on Micron in and around this level, I like that trade. So that would be something that we could work our way into right now. Why is Google's...
It was a super chat for Nvidia, actually.
Oh, is there? Am I in the wrong chat? I don't even see it. What's up, Ken Azah? Join Nvidia, Katina, man. Yeah, maybe I will. Just quickly here, I'll get to this. Is it for me or just you're going to do it?
It was in general. So it's
okay, yeah, you can take it just because I don't see it. Just hold on. Google right here, another name, kind of barcode nation right now, but underneath VWAP. So I just want everyone to note, like, the futures are making a move up. I still think the best play is to short the futures. I am short it, and I just took it, and we could lose on it. But it's just, it gives you that little bit of a cover here. If you're not in it, you could wait to VWAP. I think that might be the right play, and then give it up to this top right there. So that would be a trade to get into if you're looking short now. I'm just trying it one more time, and maybe now that I see that top, that's just too far up. I don't, on the TQs, a triple levered, I don't want to go up to 76.70 there. That's $1, so that's a pass for me. But at the end of the day, we'll try it right now against VWAP. It just kind of bounced off of it, so we'll see where we can go now. But that would have been a much better trade than where we're in. So now we're pulling back in. Now we're reflat on the reload, and now let's see where we can go on the TQQs.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just this
couple trade IDs.
VRO's trades. Thank you for the super chat there. I actually didn't see exactly when it came in, but I did see the note that we had maybe missed it. So it might have been when we were doing the rundown. Apologies. Sometimes we're going through things and we miss it, but we can always just go in here to fan funding. Earnings, Nvidia, you've got calls 147 for post earnings. I mean, up or down. Like I'm never like a guesser in terms of where earnings are going to go. You know, we're not here to give you investing advice. You know, we're basically here to give you our ideas of what we see on the trade, what we think the chart looks like, and that type of thing. What I can tell you is, I don't have that thing up again. Oh, there it is. Okay, I can quickly. Here's what I'm looking at for Nvidia earnings. And again, this is just what I'm looking for. Part of the reason why it was down 6% is the expectations are always pretty big. And I know they make a bunch of money, and it's going to be always overwhelming. Look at the revenue numbers and all that good stuff. But it was the earnings surprise had been declining in terms of how big they were beating on EPS. That was one of the factors. You weren't getting as much wow factor, and so you had the 6% to the downside. A reversal of that trend, like if they were to beat EPS and be back in the double digits, and I think you're going to fly. But again, that's just reactionary. I look for things after the fact. To me, if this comes back and it's like 15, 20% beat, and the revenue's good, and they say all of the right things, then Nvidia is going to break the all-time high, break that 150. That's what I'm looking for. But as far as going into it, I think you're just guessing at this point. You know, like I don't know. If I knew whether that was going to reverse the trend, then I would be in calls myself. But I just don't know. In the chip space, because it's adjacent to it, I mean, SMCI is more of a reversion type trade and a gimmick. AMD at VWAP if we get there. And it's an if. I mean, AMD at VWAP pretty much all day long. I don't have a great excuse for not being in it off of this VWAP in here. At the time, I discussed why I didn't make the reload there in the morning show. Like that was a judgment call based on what I thought the market was doing and how strong some of the move back up was. I just wasn't feeling it. I thought the market was pretty strong. But here, I think it's a different story. We get to VWAP on AMD, the 137, already resistance, then I'm going to like that play. Just one more note on SMCI. You're going to see a lot of size on the offer. And just keep in mind, sometimes if you're watching level 2, when you see the size pile up, it's like people that are trying to short up here can be following it down, and they're trying to hit the bid and they can't, so it'll just kind of stack up to a point at which they can get filled. Something like that happened at that 25.80 level. It came all the way down to like 25.60. There was a bit of a dump, and then it held on. I'm now trailing. I want my out at 25.80, but I'm now trailing it underneath this 25.50. If it loses it again, I think it could just be headed back into the low. Again, don't think SMCI is out of the water. I'll go 1 for 2 on it, no matter what on this one, because the first trade was a loss, and then the second trade we're able to grab for the win. But there was just somebody chasing it down for like 350,000 shares that eventually did get filled, but it was more of an SSR thing. It was either trying to get filled, can't hit the bid. It eventually got filled, massive candle reaction. So I'm going to get out if it loses 25.50 here. Don't want that person jumping back in here again and trying to dump it.
Trade is massive. Yeah, look, I mean, Rob EV in the chat was just like, where do I think Nvidia is going heading into earnings? And the thing is what I said is, I feel like we're 1 hour away from the imbalances, and then, you know, like you can scalp it back and forth, and that's not really positioning, right? So I would just say, like, you could see a monster imbalance come through here on Nvidia, and this thing move $1 either way easily. So I just think that's in the playbook for that. So I don't know if I would position myself for earnings. You just have to think, do you think they're going to beat or miss? And I mean, then just buy whatever options or whatever, if you're able to buy shares, or NVDLL or NVDL.
I think it's
is that the right one? I don't know.
NVDL.
NVDL. Okay, yeah. So a little bit cheaper there. NVDL. So
Yeah,
this
that's
will,
the one.
yeah. So $79. So a little bit cheaper there, half the price. You can, you know, get double the move, double your fun on NVDL. So that could be something there. For many of you, if it's in your appetite and your wheelhouse there, instead of options, you can grab some NVDL. All right, Micron. That was going to be a trade for us that could hit very soon if this kept on coming back up to the upside. So it gets to 97.70, close enough, man. We didn't take it though. We're waiting for 97.80s into that 98 level. So if that comes through, then yeah, man, we'll take that. But for right now, I thought the risk for Nvidia, like if I could be positioned, I would just try to play off some of the levels that we already have. So that would be 43 there, short underneath VWAP, and just try to scalp it. But for me, a little too dangerous. Okay, here we go. Now the market's trying to come back in a little bit. Let's see if we can fall. I don't know what's going to happen, but we just shorted 69s. We talked, or sorry, right here, my bad. We just shorted 59s and just covered a little bit of it there. Let's see if we can now break lower. That was a key stroke. I thought we had 69s. We don't. We had 59. So I was trying to take a dime. We didn't. So now we'll wait to see if we can get back down here. I don't have any more bids actually on this name, so so be it. So hopefully we'll be able to get something off here lower. So that would be a call. I think the 50 period is a good one there. 75.30 maybe coming into play there for the TQs. And if you guys shorted off of VWAP right there, then that was a pretty good trade. So that's what we're doing there. The next thing would be, I mean, I'm just looking at some of the scanners. I mean, here's the hot list trade rate for you right now. And we talked about being with e-signal. So AMD, hot mover here. I'll bring down a chart just so we could see. So this is going to be the chart right here to my right. You're going to see all the movement. So there's AMD, nice little pullback in. This is a 1 minute chart. You see the move down right there, you know, helping us with hopefully this futures trade. And then there's MSTR. I mean, we could keep on talking about that. It's a brand new 52-week high today, as indicated by e-signal. And as you can see right now, it's at 480s. So forget about 449 as a 52-week high. That's gone. There's that QSI. I mean, it looks like that's going to continue to be something here in the stock. So we'll have to look at QSI there, up to 150, another breaker. Nice move right here, some trades going through. So this is pretty cool, man. The trade rate, this is what I use for that. It's like SMCI. So what it is just going to be updating. See that? That's a warrant. So anything, any random name, I don't really look at, but like Broadcom right now moving, QSI, Palantir, DIDI, I guess, moving around, AMD moving, Mara moving, Spiders moving. So yeah, you know, it's kind of cool to do this, and that's the scanner that I'm looking at all the time. So if you guys are wondering, we talked about it, that's an e-signal product. And I think these trade rates and these hot lists are very much available all over the place. So, you know, grab them with whoever you're with. But I obviously like it through e-signal. So that's what we're doing right there.
Great product.
Yeah, great product. And then hopefully the TQs can continue its move a little bit lower. I'll actually put down now 10% down here at 50. Maybe we can get a fill. Oh, we just got a 55 fill. All right, but we're going to put one at 50, get a little bit lower here on these futures. And then maybe that'll be the trade that we hold into the close. But it's working out so far. IBIT back to flat.
Yeah, there's a good question in the chat I want to get to for Jam Lossy. But then on the NVDL, there is NVDX. If you're not in the chat, by the way, it's a subscribers only chat. So make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe as well if you want to be involved in the chat. Some great questions in there. And there was a clarification. NVDL is 1.5 times, NVDX is 2x. It's obviously even cheaper, but I don't think it has quite the liquidity. I think NVDL has a little bit more liquidity. But that's just a distinction between the two. There are a couple of options. I did trail out of SMCI underneath the 25.50. It is bouncing, and I was asked to elaborate on what I meant by like someone said the bid stacking, but it was the offer that was stacking. The stock is short sell restricted, meaning if I wanted to short it, then, and I wanted to do it by hitting the bid, so therefore taking those bids out and entering a short position, the last print has to be an uptick or you can't do it. So if it's just sell, 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 all red ticks like you're seeing here, and see how the offer just starts stacking up when it's all red, and then now they can get filled when it's green. So you'll see it stack up, and it was just 50,000 there, but what if it had kept going down, and it goes down another 5 cents, and it's still all red, and that 50,000 turns into 60, 70,000, like it could just be more and more until the point in which it finally gets an uptick, and then they all get printed, they get those fills coming back in. So you'll see that with an SSR name, and you'll think, oh my goodness, massive seller, massive seller, but a lot of times they've been following it down the entire way, so you can get like a relief push back up. That's what a candle like this can sometimes mean. And so to me, like if it was getting back underneath 25.50, where that buying pressure finally took it out, I don't want to be in that long anymore because I feel like that's pretty bearish. Like if it relieved the pressure and then still lost underneath that price, then I want to get out of the way. But that's all it is. It's someone that's trying to actively get short by hitting that bid. The offer it just gets posted to the offer and repriced to the offer because you can't hit the bid until there's an uptick. And if it just keeps going down, sometimes it just stacks and gets bigger and bigger as it glides a little bit lower. So that last move in the market up, well, yeah, that MAR chart is doing this thing. All right, it is what it is. MAR is getting pretty close into VWAP in here. Well, check that. That is VWAP, but this is prior support or resistance at 22.85. VWAP's wrong on that chart, but it is this level in here, 22.85. So I'm going to get out of the trade if it busts that level. This chart is giving me those issues. And then AMD never gave anything close to VWAP. You can forget about it. AMD just might not see VWAP for the rest of the day. It's too weak. Going to have to look for some other level. I guess 136.5 has been a bit of a thing. Maybe the 136 will provide a lower high, but it's just a trend short now on AMD pretty much the entirety of the day. And there was someone in the chat saying AMD is a tremendous opportunity in the long term. They capture some market share. I don't disagree with that, but the trend has been pretty clean to the downside. What I'm looking for, and actually Adam DeLuce was messaging me about this because he was looking for a different long. This is not going to be the best looking trend line because I'm just doing it kind of dirty. It's in this channel. If it breaks the bottom of the channel, wait for the August lows. If it closes above the top of this channel, that's when I want an AMD long. I want it when it's getting out of this doldrums, and if I'm late to the move by 10% to confirm that it's out of that channel, then so be it. I'm fine with that. But for now, it just keeps on sliding down. The bottom test is a badly drawn low. It was probably closer to 130 here because I didn't really draw the bottom of that very well. But as you can see, that's the channel I'm looking for. I'm more concerned when it breaks that high as opposed to try and grab it on the bottoms.
Taking a little bit of profit now on the TQs as we fall back in, and IBIT starting to go back upside. Donald J. Trump, during his first presidency, emphasized that a strong America must not depend on foreign adversaries for critical minerals essential to our nation's economic and military strength in the 21st century. Aligning with this vision, Military Metals is emerging as a global powerhouse in the antimony space, crucial for defense and military applications. With past producing assets in the US, Canada, and Europe, Military Metals is poised to secure these vital resources domestically. Don't wait too long. The story is heating up fast. We'd like to thank Military Metals for letting us know all about their offering. Go trade them right now on the CSE, OTC, or FSE right over there in London. So they also had that release this morning that Brendan had talked about as well. So thank you for all of that. All right, so we were just talking a little bit about IBIT there. 94, I think we can go long on this break. So that's 53.80. Let's see if we can rally into the close. I'm going to put a bid to get more of this position. Obviously, I have 2% of this position on. We've talked about that. I'm getting more. If we break this high right here, let's get all this garbage out of here. That's nice. That's nice. I mean, I would love to get long down here. We could put a bid also at 53.20. Maybe that will hit right into there. We could put a bid at 53.20, but I also think a bid right here to break out of 53.80 is also in play. We're just entering it's just 3 o'clock now. I don't want to be like too afraid of saying, oh, these imbalances are coming. What am I going to do? That's still a ways away. I don't want to panic with that. But yeah, I think there's a possibility here that we can get some love on IBIT. I mean, especially heading into that close, breaking through 94 and then reaching for 95. That's very, very possible. So that's 53.82 or so. That'll be a level for us. So whatever. I'll find it exactly, but it looks like 82. So we'll probably take a break of 85. I always round up. I don't know. I might as well just use the exact number. What's the difference? And then down into there, 53.20. I like that against this low of 53s, 53.08. So that's a little bit of a level there, something that we're looking for. I'm not going to talk about Nvidia over and over again. I'm just always going to check back on it. This is what it's doing. And then check back in our trade for Micron, which we were pennies away from a 30-cent winner, but pennies doesn't count when you don't get that fill. We were waiting for 97.80s. It goes as high as 71s, I don't know. So a little bit away from that. But we did do a good job capturing more profit here, as this is the trade that we've been in. The only trade that we've been in since this afternoon, since we've been on the air, is this one, the TQs. We've been getting in and out of it, watching out for IBIT. Maybe a Tesla trade could come into play at some point here today as well. I'm just keep on looking at these. If there's anything like new that comes in, we'll definitely get that to you. Right now, Uber. Oh, I tweeted out today also, if you follow here, and we can just go over some more content if you want, but we tweeted out here that where was it? Where that's SoFi, I don't even know where it is. Anyways, I tweeted out that I added to there it is right here. Just added to my long-term position in Uber. So we did add some shares to our Uber holdings right
Yeah, I wrote down, whatever.
you know, so we did we did that as well. So, but anyways, that's what I'm doing for right now. Other than that, yeah, just waiting. I like that IBIT trade, so I think this could come in. Hopefully it does. If there's any other names that you guys, want either of us to look at, we have Palo Alto, PanW. I mean, I think
Snowflake as well.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I just want
to,
because a couple of things. Like I said, I was going to get out of Mara if it broke. So I'll show you. Whoops, I put that Zeta stock up, or Zeta. Actually, I don't even know how you pronounce that one. But Mara did break this 2280 level here. So I got out, and it's a mean reversion trade, but it's making some lower highs. Again, that's a very specific setup. If you're playing it off support and resistance is now at $23.50 at that high. But there was this ZETA or ZETA, or Canadian, so we're supposed to say Z. It is halted. The news was that a forensic review finds Zeta global practices sound and financial statements accurate. I mean, so that's good. Obviously, I'm going to make an educated guess that then when this came out, I wasn't necessarily here. When the pressures came in, there were $36. It went down to $16. Seems like it was already making a bit of a bounce going in here, but I guess some confirmation. Well, anyways, a forensic review. I shouldn't say confirmation. A forensic review showing that their practices are sound. It's now halted. Presumably, this was at $36 and went to $16. It's now halted at 24, pretty much right. What are you going to do? Like, it's more or less in the middle of the range. Don't know when it's going to open up. Clearly, this was news related, and it's not a volatility halt. So, like anything, where is it? Where is my trade halts? There, right there. And like anything here, I don't even see it yet it hasn't even hit the scanner yet. But usually if it's a news halt, there's not going to be an obvious time right away, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You'll just usually see it pop up, but it hasn't even hit the halt scanner yet. When it does, you'll see a resumption when the news is disseminated, but that is the news. If you happen to be in the stock, then you can go to NASDAQ Trader and then just check out that halt page and then see if you're able to find out when it is going to reopen. So seemingly good news for them. Again, I wasn't here when the stock tanked, but...
Which stock?
No, the Zeta stock.
Oh,
I guess last week it dropped to like 50%. So I'm guessing it was probably like some kind of like a short seller report on it. Would be my guess. And then now they had someone look at the books and say that they are quote unquote okay.
The books are okay, huh? All right. I feel like whenever someone's saying the books are okay, it's like, all right, why are you even saying that, my guy? All right, so
you have to say it.
Yeah, you gotta do something. Well, you gotta do something. If you want to be starting something, Down there, Force, we just got out at 50s. We actually got 49s there. I just went over to TQs. I was like, what's going on here? I saw the net just go up a little bit. So we tried to take some profit out there. I'm not reloading this at all. I almost think that the Nvidia could carry us into the close right there. I would kind of stamp a 144 long if you guys want to take that, to be honest with you. I don't hate on that play at all. We are getting ready to get ramped up a little bit here on this play, 53.50 for IBIT, or 53.80, sorry, coming in. So I'm going to put that in right now, 53.83 break, 53.80. We'll only cross up like 2 pennies. I don't know. If it rips, and we'll miss it, but I don't think we'll miss it. So right there, we'll just cross up 2 pennies on a breakthrough. So we do have that order to go in right here. If it does break, I don't even have a low bid in yet. I'll probably stay away from that. I'm favoring longs into this Nvidia report. So I'll stay with that thesis and just try to look for some longs. I know I'm short the futures, which is why I'm trying to get out here. And again, we don't have a very big position left. We have about 20%. We sort of talked about that. We did reload there, but I was only reloading 20% and we were almost out. And now we've gotten more out there. So, we don't display the share sizes, but to tell you that we have about that much left. So whatever you guys' positions are. We are not allowed to hold anything overnight, so there's that. So, yep, we won't be able to do that.
We have to get flat.
What's up to 2 NY cent?
Unless you get caught in Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, I mean, you could get caught. I mean, you could honestly.
Well, I mean, it happens.
Yeah, the thing about earnings is it's a wild west thing sometimes, and for us, because we're on a prop floor, it's not really worth the risk. Like I could take. I'm responsible. But at the end of the day, there's other traders that would take like 5,000 shares, hold it overnight. If it wins, great. And then if it loses, well, that's trading. So you gotta be careful. We cannot manage risk, obviously, outside of intraday hours.
Yeah, because I mean, at that point, like you have a daily loss limit on a prop floor. Well, I mean, all that's out the window when you start holding something overnight on earnings. Like forget about it. Like intraday, if you're trading Nvidia, I was just gonna talk about PanW, so my chart's on that one. But if you're trading Nvidia, if you have a stop or you have like a loss limit of $1,000, it hits a certain level, you get stopped out, there's gonna be plenty of liquidity. Even at its worst, you're gonna get a reasonable fill and have some reasonable percentage of your day loss limit. Overnight, anything can happen. And I was only saying that about Spirit Airlines, I was joking around, because in the afternoon it did get halted while I was in it, and it didn't open until the next day. So obviously in the case like that, there's nothing you can do about it. But we talked about some of the earnings, and we were also going to get Snowflake and Palo Alto. By the way, Palo Alto is to the upside this afternoon. I love you, PanW. We have a love-love relationship with PanW. CrowdStrike's doing well too, but I like these guys better. Making a nice retreat. I love it when resistance turns into support. There's nothing more beautiful on a chart in an uptrend when you have a massive prior high bounce almost exactly off it. Now, anything can happen. Its expected move is certainly large enough that it could lose 380 in a heartbeat. But the fact that you're bouncing there, I like that sign on Palo Alto. So it's been trending to the upside. I'm not going to take a trade in Palo Alto. Like the only two things that we're in since we came back on are Mara. That's actually moving. The mean reversion worked. GameStop, the mean reversion. Well, it wasn't really a mean reversion. It was like a bounce play off of VWAP. That didn't work, and now GameStop tried to hold that 28. And then the third one was SMCI, which I think I might have got out of too early. And again, I gave you the reason why I was getting out of it, and sometimes that big seller that came in, and when the pressure got relieved, it retook 25.50 downside, I wanted out. Well, it's still bleeding back to the upside and did get to 25.80. So SMCI, and the reason that I like that trade, it was just this mean revert. From the flat bottom break, and this is the same support area, 25.80 that I was playing along off earlier. When that broke, it trended down, bottoming tail candle on volume, and then breaks the trend line, closes above, long into prior resistance. I love that setup, and every time I don't take it, I hate myself. Oh, I forgot to mention, so I was talking to Obi, and this morning, it'll be hard to see if I zoom this out too far, you're not gonna be able to see it very well. But I actually had target pegged and keystroked the stop. It holds 121, reverts the trend. I have the entry at 121.5, but then don't put the stop underneath the even dollar level, and it goes all the way to VWAP. But that's a one and done trade. Like once I've missed my spot, and by the time it's happened, it's already back up, then I'd have to I'd have to go into it at 122, which is not the price that I'm looking for by the time it did the snap back in. So I got to slap the fail on myself for that. Because it was a good SSR bounce here on target. It was really good. But again, stop placement is critical there. Really, I was meaning to risk over 50 pennies, like probably 75, 80, and ended up not risking that. And then the re-entry, I would have had to travel too far for it. Target down 21%.
Nice.
Obviously not good. But I think you were saying, and I agree with it, the simple fact that Walmart didn't catch a stray here and is green is fantastic. That's a great sign because it could have stayed down on sympathy, but all it did is catch a bit at that $86 level, which, by the way, remember we were just talking about this, support turning into resistance or resistance turning into support? There's the prior resistance on Walmart at $86. Where did it bounce the last couple of days at the open? $86. That's what strong stocks do. If they're trending up, you want to see that prior resistance turn into support, and that's what Walmart's giving you in spades.
Yep. We talked about that earlier. I always thought that was going to be the good trade, was the Walmart long, but don't have it. So, all right. Yesterday I bought some. I mean, I should have tweeted this out. We talked about it on the show. I bought some XBI, some more XBI. So down there, I think we got a decent fill yesterday. It was in and around, I mean, it was better than it was today. And we were up to $94 today. We had a much better bid going on right now as well. As just some of these names that, again, been a little bit beat up, start to catch a little bit more here in the market. So we'll just wait to see if there is going to be more love for XBI. But I kind of like the name. Again, a name that could be benefited from the hopefully many M&A opportunities that start to come through the regulation and sort of or lack thereof, and maybe they'll stop some of these, or stop preventing them from going through. So I could see that being a beneficiary there, as some constituents of the XBI potentially get bought out or get stronger by buying out different projects and whatnot. So again, I kind of like that play there. So I averaged into that one, and then Uber, we talked a little bit about that as well. So Mike, Ron. Just waiting for that to come through. No, not. I'm just checking on what iBit's doing. No, not. Oh, iBit's getting close. Actually, that was an 80 break, if that can come through. I did see someone in the chat say, hey, what about YPF? Yeah, I don't know much about this name, but this is a Chinese name. It's an ADR here. So again, if you're into this kind of stuff, great. But pretty random here for me to trade a name. But this has really gone off here. YPF. Let me find out what the name exactly is here. As more of you guys are looking at some of these, this is I think it's a social.
This isn't Chinese.
This is Sociedad.
It's Argentinian.
Oh, it's Argentinian. Okay. I mean, because it had Y there, I sort of thought maybe.
Not that I knew that off by heart.
No, you have it.
No,
there.
it's like I'll give a shout out. I'll give a plug to Trade Ideas for it, because they put a nice little flag in the information section so that I can just pretend that I knew that. You don't know about YPF, Sociedad Anonima?
Yeah, I knew it was an ADR of some sort.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I did assume it was. What is that? A social? What does it say when you go to? Do you have the profile there, or you don't?
I don't.
Right to the right on the tab, right there.
If you go here,
over. No, right there.
Oh,
up.
This.
Nope.
Oh, this.
Up. Nope. Up. Right. Oh, to the right. Profile. What does it say?
Okay, petroleum and coal manufacturing.
Okay. Oh, what?
So energy and
okay.
And
I saw social there. I thought it was one of those social.
And it's doing this on the daily chart.
See, there you go.
Really?
Something is funny there. So we'll wait to see what's up with that stock. But
stock is wild.
I mean, you don't own that stock? Come on, man.
I mean, obviously not. Yeah. Okay. That's yeah.
If you're not in IPF or YPF, what are you in? You know, I mean, that was one of the things that we always talked about around the dinner table. Why are you not in YPF? Like, I don't know. EWZ for Brazil.
I'm in Chevron.
Oh yeah, you know what? There is. Okay, you're XLE for some reason.
What's going on with that?
I'm gonna double check what the constituents of XLE are. Constituents.
Speaking of just on a weird segue to CVX. Well, I'm only whatever, just because I was thinking about this one, and then support turning into resistance. CVX, and this is a leg that I'm actually watching myself. I am in it, candidly. I've been a buyer at the 141 level on the stock. I have it in my long term, but it's just stair-stepping to the upside. When you talk about the big rejection levels, 162 is the next big rejection level, and it's putting in a higher low into this. So breakout from 162 on Chevron, I think, gets it to this 166. It could happen, I don't know, imminently, but you know, who knows. Sebastian in the chat, and you learn something every single day. Neil and Sean, all in Argentina stocks are like that. All of them. Okay. I mean, I don't know, it's the first one.
All hail Argentina!
So why don't we play some? That's the first thing I'm thinking about. What, they all look like that when they start trending?
You didn't know that?
It can't be that easy. Nothing is ever that easy.
Come on, Neil.
But you're good to know.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And like I said, like, you know, sometimes you just got to know. And there's so many more names other than all these tech names. I mean, I think that's the one thing that we can all sort of hold true. It's like someone said, look at the EWZ. That's going to be Brazil. You know, I mean, there's going to be opportunities here as well. This is pulled. Look at the Brazilian. I mean, Argentina and Brazil. What is this? A battle of monster soccer nations? Like, I mean, this is going one way. I don't know what is the ETF for Argentina. I don't even know.
No, it's probably just in
Chile. A nightmare over there is like, why are we not talking about Chile here? But
it's probably just in EW.
Oh yeah, because Chile lost to Canada. Sorry about that in soccer there. I don't know what was going on with the CONCACAF right there. Okay, so the largest holdings here. You know, the funny thing about all this is, yeah, exactly. Taking over. All right, so I can't wait till the Raptors get that Cooper Flag guy. From Duke. He's supposed to be.
Happen, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I can't wait.
Duke's got another good guy.
Look at what's going on right here with this. This is very interesting. XLE keeps popping off to the upside, so that was like making me think like, what exactly are some of the holdings? Because Neil just went over Chevron, and you could see, although you know it's been holding, there's some good dividends involved here. XLE also a 3.2% dividend. So as a lot of these names start to go back up to the upside, you could see XLE sort of outpacing a lot of these names. It also has XOM involved in it. So as an ETF, here it is right here. These are the top. I'll zoom in here, get going there. There you go, that makes sense. This is just from Yahoo. So XOM, CVX. So it's the big ones already in there, plus ConocoPhillips, Williams Companies, EOG Resources. I mean, we can read it as it goes on, but at the end of the day, hey man, it's performing real well. And if you like oil, get a mix up right there in the XLE. So we really like that, paying that 3% dividend. And again, just really extending itself upside right now, trying to break out. It still has 100 in its sights. I think it probably gets there. So for the dividend, kind of like that play.
Shout out to Stefan here in the chat.
Yeah, what's up, Stefan?
There is an ETF, and it's aptly named ARGT.
Yeah.
So there you go. Sometimes it's not that complicated. I don't know. Like I feel like in the back of my
it's very
mind,
simple sometimes.
Probably should have guessed that one, but you know it is what it is. We missed out.
I mean, this never more true than that. The more you know.
Grew up on that. But the ETF does look pretty impressive. When it trends, it trends. And look at that one. So Brazil down, Argentina up. And if that's how it is, I saw some people say things like insider trading and all that good stuff, or bad stuff, depending on how you look at it, as for the reason why sometimes that happens. But you know what? If you have access to it and it's moving, who cares? Sometimes, you know, like obviously that's a great looking opportunity. I don't know anything about that stock, but the trend up is pretty impressive. And when you get breaks and entries that you can find that make sense, I think all the more power to you. SMCI is starting to pull back in here. That area where you had the big seller, 25.5, it's catching the same bid at 25.40. So if it can do another one of these bottoming tail wicks, maybe hold this 25.50, show some green above it, I might look for a re-entry with a stop under the 40 level. That would be the next play. It's really just looking at that in Mara, which, oh yeah, that chart. That's not going to be VWAP on Mara. Mara still can't seem to hold above 23 even. So I'm looking for another potential fade. Like what I have my eyeballs on here is IBIT at VWAP. Like if IBIT can't break this out and it loses VWAP, and you've got this lower high, another lower high on Mara to play off of, that'd be the look. Like a failure here underneath this 53.8, and then trying to play the 23 level off of Mara. So I'm still looking at the same two stocks, SMCI and Mara. I mean, technically 3, but AMD is allergic to going up. So therefore, shorting pops has been non-existent in this stock. I thought VWAP, it went halfway. I thought, okay, let's go halfway again. It's not going anywhere. So just playing the patience game with regards to AMD. This is one that is going to move tonight. You know, in the aftermarket show, when we're watching Nvidia live, I promise you I'll pull up a few other chip names. AMD is going to move.
Yeah.
We don't know what Nvidia is going to do, but it is going to move around some of the others. The Qs are going to go. The SPY is going to move. AMD is going to move. SMCI is going to move. You name it. I mean, TSLA, like they're all going to start going all over the place.
I really think every single stock in the NASDAQ 100 probably has something to do with Nvidia. And probably, I told you, I think Meta is going to be the biggest beneficiary of a good quarter. I think AMD goes, I mean, I actually think a great quarter is going to be bad for AMD. So we'll see, just because AMD ain't playing in the same playground as these guys.
They're not.
And if they start showing like the demand for this Blackwell, I mean, I think it pushes people away from AMD. Now, I mean, I think it's great for the whole sector. I don't think if Nvidia's up 10%, AMD ain't going to be red. But I don't see that. We've sort of talked about in the past some of the correlation between those two stocks, and they're not as strong, I don't think, as we may think. So, yeah, good play there for sure. All right, so we got out. We're about to get stopped out of the TQs. And again, we talked about what we're holding here. I'm completely fine with this. I did like the move longer into the close, as we had mentioned on there for Nvidia, just because but again, huge move up there. You could have shorted the 200 period. At the same time, it's still in the same situation. Are you hearing this right now?
Oh, you gotta be kidding.
So it's not moving too crazy here, but they're just saying that the Boeing CEO has met with President Trump and something about tariffs not being very good for Boeing. So I don't even know, like, is that a threat? Like, I don't really know what exactly that means. I guess we'll find out at some point what exactly that means. But for right now, Boeing kind of unaffected there. No, just trying to give you guys the news of what we're hearing right now.
I was looking at, like, I heard that and I was like, oh, is this going to be a punch short?
You never know what to do with it.
On Boeing, but it doesn't look like a punch short. If anything, it's starting to go up. It's like you got resistance here, 146.60. The first thing I did is throw a stop in above here in case it was looking like it was a short. But the reaction to this news is wick down and then holding. I'd want to see it hold underneath the 50 level on that name. That Zeta, whatever, man. It doesn't really matter. It just opened back up. And yeah, I mean, the forensic accountants gave them the all clear, I suppose, that there was no impropriety. Again, it's just that's just the report. It opened at 24, it went to 25.60. It's right back at 24.50. So I guess there's some skepticism that these guys are out of the water because it did not sustain the bounce like you would expect. As a matter of fact, it's about to go red. So I'm going to keep some eyes on this Boeing, as that Zeta stock is completely insane. Like Boeing, I don't know, I kind of feel like that would be bad news. Because if tariffs are going to be there, then you want to respect them if they are going to be in place. So I'm going to keep some eyes on Boeing. Obviously, we're already looking at MARA and SMCI. But you know what else we should be looking at? VinFast Auto, excited to announce the official delivery of its flagship VF9 all-electric SUV to North American customers. This stunning 7-passenger, 3-row electric vehicle has a starting price from $69,800. In the US, the VF9 Plus is now available across VinFast retail network in California and dealerships nationwide. For a limited time, VinFast is making the VF9 Plus even more accessible with an exclusive promotional lease offer of just $529 per month. In the Canadian market, the all-wheel drive model has all-in price starting from $77,000 is now offering an electric premium SUV option tailored to all-season performance, which is important here. You want that all?
It's the most important.
Yeah, you know, we get a lot of flack here in Canada. You need that all-wheel drive, baby.
I don't even put snow tires on my cars.
You don't?
Nah.
There was one day.
They're like that.
No, there was a day
You shouldn't do that though.
No, like if I didn't have snows, like the Jeep, I had the snow tires on, and like 3 people got off of my street because we're deep. Like we're always the last to get plowed. Just based on where we live. It's kind of like a little enclave.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man. Like they'll plow the school that's like half a kilometer away, like that street, but ours, we're SOL. Sometimes it gets so bad. You can do your driveway, but you're not getting off the street if you don't have, you got a little bit of a bigger vehicle that can handle it, and then you got to have those snow tires on there. And I saw a few people get stuck. I was helping.
Oh man, it's tough sledding there for sure.
We've
been lucky. Yeah, I mean, we have all-wheel drive and everything like that, but
big help.
Yeah. So we'll just throw those bad boys on whenever it's fit. But yeah, at the end of the day,
I use the service you talk about. I just assumed you always did it because you told the service. The
when I had
service
the BMW,
when I had the
BMW, I did it
and does the change. I use that.
Yeah, because that ride did not have all-wheel drive. Yeah. But yeah. So, anyways, yeah, very important. And that VinFast, I mean, for 70 or 80 grand. I mean, we talked about that.
And prices
again. Pretty okay there for that. We'll wait though on buying. I don't know if it's
drops trade. I will not get a monster truck.
A monster truck? No.
Drops trade is like get a monster truck
or Cybertruck does even.
I used to love
monster truck
at the exhibition when they would do like like what was it called? Bigfoot? Was that the name of the big blue one? They'd have the rally car races.
The green one was the big one.
That was awesome. When I was a kid, my dad would take me to those sometimes. It was a lot of fun. Do they still do that kind of stuff?
Monster Truck Madness or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know if it comes to Canada.
Hell yeah.
It was in that.
No, it does. It does. It comes here.
Well, I'm going to take care of it. I think
you should. That would be hilarious. But I think it's super loud. That's the only thing for kids. That's all. But
sometimes loud. I mean, kids like loud.
Yeah, man. My kids would be down for that. I just realized now my Now they're done. So Sean's living on the edge. Yeah. What's up, NYC Urbanista? Always living on the edge there. All right. So I only have one more day left, and then we'll have Obi here on Friday. That should be a lot of fun.
Where are you guys off to?
We're nowhere. Just it's a tournament here in Mississauga.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll do that, and then we're going to that concert there. Sebastian Maniscalco on Friday night, which should be a lot of fun. And yeah, not much else. I mean, the kids play Friday and Saturday. Yeah, just
That's how it works,
bunch of kid stuff, man. That's about it for right now. All right, the TQs is basically 2 pennies away from getting stopped out. It's right here at VWAP. If it breaks 85, we're out. Might as well we could watch it together. Our average price right here is 71. So the breakout will punch us out. And again, this is a levered TQQ product. It'll be, there it is. It's out now. It's my #1 stock today, and it's not even close. That was just a great, and we only started trading it now. So we just really hit it pretty good there, and now we quit it. So we are out of that one as we get into Nvidia earnings time, man. I mean, we're getting into that spot one more time. All right, Palantir, good recovery day for Palantir. Oh boy, we went long here, and I think this might be our biggest red name here today. But at the end of it, though, it goes not that red at all because we were able to get out of the way. We tried to buy 61.50, we got out of the way at 61.25. So a quick little, wasn't even 25 cents because we were able to average into it. But at the end of the day, boom, to the downside it goes. So not a great look there for Palantir early, but a great one late as it battles all the way back. And we even wrote that down. I wrote down, they love to buy the dips is what I said there. But unfortunately, that came out a little bit too quickly for me, and we were unable to take too much advantage of Palantir's long there today. Unfortunately. So IBIT's starting to get back. I still like that break. I'll still take it. I think a half hour left in the open market is fine for this trade. So I'll still be there trying to get this long in IBIT if we break above 80. So that's a trade that we're working on right now. I'm just going to assume because the futures are going that Nvidia is going, but I would be wrong because it's not really going up. So
Bitcoin's going. It's trying to go up, not very
Bitcoin
much.
is, but what I'm saying is Nvidia is not.
Not by much.
I thought Nvidia might rally a little bit more into the end of the day.
I thought with the futures going up, AMD would present an opportunity. I did get into Boeing. It held underneath that 145.60. I got a little bit early. I was kind of looking for the candle to close below. I ended up getting the exact price that I would have if I had waited for the next candle. But, and again, when I say confirmation on a 3-minute, a lot of times it's like I want to wait for that next confirmation candle. I kind of pulled the trigger a little bit early at the 30 level. I'm going to play it into 146, and if it breaks 146, 145.3. Essentially, the story is we were telling you guys, and I was going to read something in the chat, that's why I have the chat up. We were just saying to you guys, the Boeing CEO telling Trump that tariffs would be bad for them. So, again, obviously that's not a good piece of good news.
What did it do?
Dude, what I was going to get at is someone basically was calling us the 2 guys from the Muppets.
Yeah, I love that. What are those guys' names? They sit there and they start showing hate on people. There we go.
What's the other guy's name? Yeah, those 2.
Yes.
Which, now that I think about it, would have been a killer Halloween.
We got to get those suits. Well, one guy's a black tie, one guy's a white tie, brown tie. Right there.
Well, I need to get a mask.
Got the mustache. I had to be the guy on the left, I guess.
So you could pull that off. I'd have to get some kind of like a full mask, otherwise it wouldn't.
Yeah, people might not. You know what? If we dress like that, people would think we were like Men in Black and shit like that. So I don't know.
Men in Black's terrible.
But I'm just saying because with the suits,
I hate it.
People might not be able
overrated
to tell the difference there. Men in Black. I used to have a pug. So. But all right, so
best part of the movie was probably the dog.
Yeah. I mean, I think Men in Black was probably really good, but the problem is it's old. Like they did so many of them that I just felt like people got tired of them all. You know, there were so many of them. The Men in Black.
You know what I remember? Okay, first things first. Boeing it broke VWAP. Just printed some at the 15 level, and then it printed in front of 146 even there. So out in front of 50. So the one that went the first 20 cents, 1-to-1, and then now we're getting some out in front of 146. If it breaks 146, I'm going to slap a trail at VWAP and then just see how far it goes. It's not really going crazy. That Zeta stock, Zeta stock, catching a little bit of a bid and maybe going back up for anyone that's interested in what's going on here. But I feel like that's a bamboozler, 100% bamboozlement. But, Nimrod, once again, thank you for another super chat there, Nimrod.
Blam.
We appreciate you guys. Hey, guys, any idea why BTC rips in the past 2 days while Pepe and Doge crash? Did I miss anything? What's your best bet on Nvidia's price tomorrow? We'll hit the like on that one. So I'm not a crypto expert. But as far as I'm concerned, there's
asking us why
Bitcoin.
Pepe didn't move?
There's Bitcoin, and then there's a bunch of altcoins, to which I'm not going to pretend to understand what the use cases are for any of them, why they should go, why they shouldn't go. I have a brief understanding of the ones that don't have a use case. But seriously, at the end of the day, just because Bitcoin's going like why the Ether doesn't always move with Bitcoin. Sometimes they move lockstep, and the entire space goes together. But altcoins have famously resisted all kinds of moves, especially on lower time frames. So it does not surprise me whatsoever. Best guess for Nvidia's price. If I knew that, like I said, when we were talking about this earlier, if I knew that, I would have calls. I can tell you what I'm looking for. I want that EPS, which has been lowering the size of the surprise to the upside. 4 straight quarters where the EPS beat has been a smaller percentage. Reversal of that trend, and I'm just looking for long small if they reverse that trend. That's what I'm looking for. But that's going to inform my trading tomorrow, not a guess at where it's going to go today. That's just not something that I have a real good read on, but we just like to trade it after the fact. But Nvidia, it's so close to that all-time high that any kind of a move up that's greater than the expected move, and it's a breakout over 150, which makes the trading pretty basic for us. So it's 3:30 now. I just want to double check here. Early look on the imbalances. Maybe we get something, maybe we don't. Oh, goodness. We were just kind of crapping on Ford this morning, and it's a 3.5 million early look sell imbalance. GM 1.3 million sell imbalance. Sony there for 1.2. Those are the ones that matter. At 350, obviously, there could be a chance that you see some Nvidia. It could be there. You never know. A lot of times it does have a big imbalance, but the early look is just Ford for a sell. How did that do today? Oh, not very good.
No.
The irony was someone's like, why are you guys crapping on Ford? Well, if you had just taken the Ford 11 break today, you could have just gone home after that trade and then held it into the close. Bad stock. And we're pointing out good stocks, bad stocks, and I'm not ripping on Ford, but bad stock, resistance, short, and now it's probably headed back to $10. I don't know, but that's what it did the last few times. So not very good. And it's got a sell imbalance to boot. Yuck.
A name that's starting to blast here a little bit. I mean, the market, first of all, is taken off. So, yeah, it looks like they are getting excited about this NVIDIA release here. Tesla as well is really starting to go. So bouncing off that 340, that's where the VWAP was right there. It started bouncing pretty good since 3 o'clock, just going back and forth, and now with the sort of a boom here in the market, and not this is why we didn't average back into the TQs. Like, it held to 50, and it just got somewhere to go, and now it's higher. And again, we talked about some of the reasons. We're going to look at different stocks, but there goes Tesla again, right up there to the upside, coming into some resistance levels of 342. So we bounced around there this morning. If you have options or whatever you're playing any of these markets with, might want to look at this right here, because it looks like Tesla up to 342. A breakout here. I mean, we could close back to 346. It looks like it's really starting to get going. Nothing stopping this name from a higher bid right now. It doesn't look like anyways. That, of course, is Tesla. So good little mover there for anybody looking at it. Tesla. All right, another name there was DraftKings, DKNG. We really like that name. We've talked a little bit about DraftKings in the past. Today, not doing too much, but a nice move for DKNG, breaking through the top right there. So all right, maybe let this chart settle down. There it is. So yeah, we were excited to get this back to 43. We're not in this name. I should have pulled the trigger there. It was right before earnings, so we didn't want to. Earnings came out. It flushed down to 34, where we made a famous, or 31, where we made a famous call live to buy this. And then, but you'd have to, that was really, really quick. Only because I was like $30, we'll take that all day. And then the rip right back there to the north side. So yeah, man, stocks off earnings are very, very difficult to trade. I think this is a perfect example right here with DraftKings. Opens up, look at this, it goes down 20% and then rips back up. And then since then, nice upside move. So algos can get a hold of your stock early. I mean, I was doing this, the recap show, which will be Neil today, but I remember doing it before with Brian on Nvidia earnings, and it was just wild. Like it would go down $50 and up $50, and I mean, of course, this is when it was a $700 name or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be pretty violent there today, I would say. And I really like PanW. I just don't, I mean, this is, again, there's a lot of people that are going to be in this name. We've talked about Palo Alto. We like Palo Alto, but at the end of the day, look at the reaction this name's having to the S&P. It is blasting right now into the close. So yeah, those of you that think that this might be a beat, you ain't alone, as that just goes up $5 straight there to the upside. And again, the best of the best here, cybersecurity, just kind of like our friend Alex Karp. They only have positive things to say when they're talking about their business, but in reality, when your business is attached to worries and sort of geopolitical news and threats, just like cybersecurity is, I don't think the CEOs have too much bad to say. So we'll wait to hear about their quarter. I would expect PanW to beat. I like the stock, and if you like that stock, then one that can get going a lot more is Crowd. So you could see CrowdStrike's right back to those we talked about. It's already covered up that gap. We'll wait to see now what happens with Crowd. But again, a nice move higher there, and PanW sends CrowdStrike higher as well. So I like Meta off Nvidia earnings, and I like CrowdStrike off PanW.
And man, Nvidia's through VWAP, through 145. AMD's almost at VWAP. You're starting to go here. I double checked to see if there was an imbalance or something that was early look imbalance that was causing this. No, we're just flying in. The volume's starting to pressure. If it's going to hold on to the 145 level, maybe you're just going to go screaming into that close. AMD, which, I mean, careful what you wish for. Looks like it's going to get to VWAP at this particular point. 137.20-ish is about it. I will show you Boeing. When it tagged under VWAP, I moved my stop from here to break even. When it held on to 146 even. And again, the news came out. I kind of thought maybe you get a bigger reaction out of that. Anytime there's remotely bad news on Boeing, I tend to want to look for a short setup if there's even anything there. And then if it follows through, Boeing has a tendency to really follow through when it does. Look at the chart. It is what it is. But now that you're absolutely flying to the upside, it is Nvidia. Tesla's going as well. Tesla has an outside shot of going green today. Nvidia's got another 1.25% to go. Tesla just a little bit less than that. And both of them trending well above VWAP and starting to get some serious juice behind them. Nvidia, maybe it does some kind of a consolidation here, and there's one last push before we get the imbalances. Robbie V just said, MSTR is near 500. Ooh, there's a lot going on here. Where's my Mara at? Mara's under VWAP? Maybe, oh no, that chart's messed up. But Mara's still underneath that 23. Mara still might be a short if we're not going to break out. Let's go over to my main man, pay some bills.
Yeah, we're going to try to pay some bills. iBit's almost punched in as well. But right now, e-signal here. Trade smarter, not harder. We talk about that all the time. I showed this sort of scanner that I use there for iBit, for breakouts, for hot lists, for all of that. Huge app store. Lots of stuff to go find out. Just go Google e-signal and go find out if you like it. Click the QR code below there. Do that first. Go over to the website, then start experiencing what you need to know. Charts that change the game, the best data, instant trading, right off the platform. We talked about the scanners, the back testing. I showed yesterday 1-second charts, tick charts, tick replays. You can replay the 1-second chart if you want. I mean, it's crazy. Reliable, real-time data. I've been using it for 22 years. And again, it's never, I wouldn't say this if it wasn't true. I've never experienced it going down. So e-signal, I mean, absolutely fantastic. All you need in one place. Hit that QR code and join the best charting platform available, IMO. That means in my opinion. I
think a lot of people will tell you that exact same thing. I mean, that's been the refrain. Is like when I started trading, that's what all the traders said, and this was a while back, and it was like a year after you, and the only other outside charting platform people were using back then. And even to this day, there's other ones out there, but the ones that are consistent are definitely going to be e-signal. Ben, shout out to you. Big Dog, I flashed you QQQ 502. So, and my response to that was in the afternoon show, and again, everyone, you got to stay in your lane. And what I have found, at least for the last 2 or 3 months, and this is probably reflected in trades that I make in the afternoon show, is that almost all of the positive and good trades that I make are specific style setups in the afternoon, especially late in the day. So I'm talking like the mean reversion or like a VWAP retracement trade, like things along the lines of, well, that Mara chart's going to be messed up, so I'm going to go to the SMCI. Like things along the lines of, hey, this mean reversion, tight setup, and then look for the move back into the upside. Or what could have been, obviously AMD is a different story now, because it's screaming into VWAP, but looking for a pullback into prior resistance, set up a VWAP short. It doesn't in this particular, like there is no reason to be short here. Like, where's the curl? Non-existent. Where's the roll? Where's the resistance at 37? Non-existent. So I'm not just going to jump into it, but it could do a roll over here, and then I look for that setup. That's what's been working for me, as opposed to, oh, hey, this is going to be the bottom on the future, something like that. So it is now ramping to set upside.
Yeah, what's been working for me is just trading IBIT recently, to be honest with you. Going to be a big stock today. We just grabbed that there. Goes immediately up in the money, 10 cents. We're long at 82s. We just got that fill, while 83.50, I guess we didn't get the best price. We were waiting for an 82 fill. It blasts up. We're going to start taking some more out here as it goes back up to the upside, and just to top off the day, man. And then if it wants to run, let's go. I mean, this is a trade that we had targeted for you. So far, so good here. On, you know, a name that I like, a spot that I like. Let's see if we can continue to work it the right way here. IBIT starting to go back upside. I mean, we do see that this 54.10-ish, 54-ish area could become something. So what I do when I do that, we talk about ish, we're going to just get some out there halfway. So I just put an offer at 54.05 or 04 right there. Just, you know, if that's 54.10 or so, and that's 54s, we'll try to go in the middle and see if we get a breakthrough. I'm not worried one bit at all about the price of this name. So, like, I don't think it's going to stop here in front of $54. I mean, it's just following whatever Bitcoin's doing. So if this wants to go again and start taking it out, I mean, we've got the trade. It was an idea that we gave everybody. Hopefully it continues to work out. I'm starting to get out of it, but there it is right there. This is what's coming into question. We talked about it needing to get long if it broke this area, not this area. So it looks like maybe we were wrong about that, obviously. But if you took that break right there, 94.3, that's the area that we talked about. You're now in the money a couple $100 bucks on Bitcoin, but we take it with IBIT as it's starting to scream a little bit higher. Hopefully we can get into that 54.05-ish area and get going there. Well, Mara's starting to go?
No, MSTR.
MSTR. Oh, my God.
Mara's actually the one that's not going.
Okay. That's
like, Mara's relatively weak, so I've got eyeballs on that for any. Like, I should have just shorted 23, but it doesn't matter. MicroStrategy's through 500 bucks. And it is flying. It just hit 504. Here's what I mean by Mara. I'll show you at the same time. Mara is still pulling lower highs and can't seem to continue. It was at one point, I know I said it was better than MicroStrategy. At one point, it was stronger and having a better day. But now the role reversal is in. 500 gone on MSTR and just still going here. So if you had that break, congratulations. But I'm looking for, with this late in the day, I want to set something up to the short side of Mara. If Mara's not going to go when everything else is going, if there's any kind of a significant pullback, I've got IBIT and MSTR up just so I can track them. And it's so obvious, at least it's obvious now, when you see that big break happen and Mara's move with just to the downside here. So it hasn't even done a little bit of a pop. And again, VWAP's not going to be very good on that chart. So that's why I keep going to the 15. It's this $23 level. If this trend continues up, I want to look at one last play at 23. It is 342, so it would have to happen pretty quickly because I don't want it at 350 or too close to that 350 level. Nimron, what up? Another super chat. Thank you so much. Sorry for spamming. You don't have to apologize if you're sending super chats, and we appreciate you. But yesterday I asked which long you have for a while. You said Lily. I said Lily. You asked non-tech names. And I was like, Lily, Caterpillar, and Walmart are just the three biggest non-tech names that I hold. And it's up 6% since the buy price. Would you sell and rebuy later? I mean, I have it in the long term, so I don't, like, that's not really my look for Eli Lilly. What I can tell you is, here, we'll just give you a higher time frame chart on Eli Lilly so we can actually walk through this. It is at a key support level. You can see it on the weekly, like right around here, like 715. And if you zoom back there, it's a little bit easier to see on the daily. Like, you're bouncing at a key support level on Eli Lilly. So technically, you think it's got some room to like 775, 800, at least from a technical standpoint. Like, this is where you would expect to bounce. But it's been dropping like a rock since earnings, right? So it's just catching a bit off first support there. I was kind of haphazardly hoping that it would go into the 600s because I would gobble it up, and I said that yesterday, but nice little bouncer. I think it's got some room to get back into the 200 period on the daily chart there. And then the 50 period on the weekly is around the same level. Those will overlap at about 800 bucks.
Yeah, like Like all those things there. Yeah, you want to diversify a little bit. That's why I've been buying some Berkshire. So I think this Berkshire B has been a good little look for me as well recently. So I think that's something else. And then financials, you definitely want to get diversified a little bit there. And we talked some energy. We talked about some XLE and things like that. So shout out to you, Nimrod. Thank you so much, for contributing every day to the chat and adding, to Trader TV Live. So thank you, Nimrod. For that one here, we'll do this for you. I don't know, where's Ozan at? Ozan always wants this. All right, so we are actually now out of half of I, but it didn't do anything. We'll still hold this into the close, but we basically out all there for like that 10 cents. It's almost nothing, but we'll see if it wants to hold. And I'm gonna get out if it breaks through VWAP, which is right here, 70s. So not too much risk. 83s, out 70s. Like we're gonna try to go 1-to-1 with holding for hopefully a nice move. Stop asking me in the chat. I'm just playing around with you, but I don't really have an opinion on what I think Nvidia is going to do into earnings. I mean, we've already sort of talked about it. I thought the risk, obviously, I didn't want to be short today. We'd sort of talked about that, right? So there it is right here. Here's the trade, and I'm not going short. And there's the blast. So only longs today. There it is, going to the upside. We do have these imbalances, and it's just like it could come anywhere, and I don't know what's going to happen. We're not supposed to know anything about these earnings, right, before they come out. So I think it's always best to stay away when you're trading earnings before. This is going to blast at 350 one way or the other, and I don't know which way that is. And if I did, I would tell you, and that would be my opinion. So I'm going to wait to see. Look, if it's a huge buy imbalance, that could be an indicator. That's also something that we've never really tested here on the show. What do the imbalances look like as opposed to what actually comes from earnings? So take that for what you will on that. But yeah, that would be something for me to look at here, where the imbalance comes from. If you want to dance with the devil in the last 10 minutes, be my guest on that one.
That's the money with the gusto.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like, what if it comes 10 million to buy? Sure, they will shoot it up $1, but maybe what's $1 if that's going to indicate to us what the earnings are going to be? But again, not something that we've back tested. So I don't know if past big earnings beats or misses have been preceded with big imbalances. So I don't know about that.
I can't remember one. So like I'm gonna just react to what you see with the imbalance.
That's all you can do at the end of the day.
So I did like Nvidia pulled back a little bit here. So I'll just walk you through the entire thing. Nvidia pulled back off 146, which was the key level that I liked this morning. So it couldn't get through that. And AMD came back in through VWAP. So it made a top at resistance, came back through VWAP. There was like your confirmation candle, the second red. Got in 37 change, stop high of day, got bids underneath 37, at least out in front of 135. 136.5. With about 3 minutes to go, this is probably the last trade. Oh, yeah. If there's a buy imbalance, I have a stop order, so it'll probably get taken out if there's a buy imbalance. But that's what I'm going to be watching for. If it's a sell imbalance, I might cancel some bids, thinking that you could go a little bit further. But it's actually Nvidia that I would expect the imbalance on, not AMD. It's just I think it would be a sympathy in either direction on that. So my stop is just above the 30s on AMD. It'll be like the mid 30s on AMD. Might take an L this afternoon, and it could be this AMD short as Nvidia is catching a bit of a bid. But I did want to see, instead of just getting into it in front of the level as it was going up, if you give up a little something in price, I wanted to see it curl. I wanted to see Nvidia come back down and then try to jump into it. So 2 minutes to go to the imbalances. Ken is Zhao Jensen about to drop it like it's hot.
Yeah. Except
if he drops it like it's hot, dropping is not what the stock will do.
Right, yeah, boo.
He'll drop them. He'll give the old mic drop, but the stock hopefully will fly to all-time highs. So let's be real. I don't know. I haven't heard a single person in the chat say that they have puts on this thing. So I think we all want Nvidia to go up. Let's be real about this for a second. DJK Nvidia 170 tonight. Oh,
yeah.
I hope so.
That's my call. My call was 170. We made that a little while ago. I don't like the pullback that's been happening, but it's at 146. So 170 is not out of the realm at all. I think it's going to be a big beat. I think they'll finally talk about Blackwell. They'll talk about all the demand. Jensen's come out and said it's absolutely insane. The thing is, can it be pushed forward? So it's always going to be about the guide. And I just don't know what that insane comment is about. Is that already what's been baked in here with some of these analysts, or are we expecting a huge number to come out of nowhere? So we'll wait to see what exactly Nvidia has in store for us today, and you can join us on the recap show. Make sure you stay tuned, man. Let's break some records on that show. Top 10 traders. So this is yesterday's. So we don't have today's. I can show you today's tomorrow. Today's tomorrow. Yep, that's right. So right into here, yesterday, someone on the New York and the NASDAQ only traded those two exchanges. They made $24,000 right there yesterday. Followed by the second place was a measly 7,600. These are all going to be US dollars, and then these are the markets that they traded. So then we had Amex and NASDAQ, so probably someone's trading the SPYs or something, the Diamond, something on the Amex there as well. So Diamonds is the Dow Jones. And then you have New York and NASDAQ again. Then you have someone that's definitely flipped up the script a little bit there with Canada. Paris, maybe if I zoom in a little bit, and Xetra, the German exchange coming through there. Shout out to everyone trading over there in Germany. Make sure that if you are trading with us, you do hit the like and the subscribe. And then again, Amex Toronto again at the bottom. But yeah, pretty littered with North American, but you do see some Paris and Xetra there. So yeah, good little look there. And again, if you are part of real trading, then you do have that opportunity to trade all of those markets just with entitlements.
Although I'm boycotting the German market.
Yeah.
Because
why again?
German ingenuity didn't make their there was a lot of things not working at their airport, and we thought we had on both ways. We were in a direct flight to Rome. We stopped in Frankfurt, only to have airport, the walking, not the escalator. What do you call the flat ones? Whatever. We had a big long walk to the gate, and I'm sitting there going on my cane, and it's like, really? Now it's not working when I need it to work? So thank you very much, German airport, Frankfurt specifically. Shoot, I was just about to point out, but we got the imbalances. It was just something in the chat I was going to go over that was entertaining. But Apple buy 1.6 million, Tesla buy 1.5 million, Alphabet buy 1.3 million, Microsoft buy 1.3 million, Intel buy 1, Nvidia 1 million buy, boo, Sony 1 million sell. Amazon 900,000 to the buy side. So obviously it is a buy imbalance. Broadcom 900,000 buy. So AMD, 850,000 buy. Remember I said, got to have a stop on that because AMD, and I said it will happen at 350 if it was a buy imbalance. If it's a sell imbalance, you probably pull back and it's a win, but that's why I like it. You're going to have a stop trade in there, stop no matter what. It does break out. It's buy imbalances across the board. But the Nvidia one is actually a disappointment. 900,000 into 11 million paired is kind of a nothing burger for Nvidia. You know, that's a very small number when you consider it's done 224 million in volume. And the buy and balance is 900,000 and 11 is already paired. So, yeah, a little bit of a disappointment there, but overall, that's going to bring the market to the upside, all those buy and balances across the board. I didn't see, you know what, the only one I didn't see is Meta. Now that I think about it, I read every single Mag 7
that's the one I like too. No.
Every Mag 7 name was close to 1 million shares to buy with the exception of Meta. But Meta's a $500 stock, so that's the reason why.
We definitely want to get on.
No, it's because they're all like $100 now, and Meta's expensive, so it doesn't have the imbalance as big because it's a more expensive stock.
Look, guys, everyone's got to hit the like and subscribe. We have over 6,600 like and subscribe, not supplies. We have over 6,700 of you watching. Join Neil tonight. Look, where else, honestly? This imbalance locator has made a lot of traders a lot of money, and nobody even knew about it before the show. Now you found it. We're going to show you why these names are moving here at the end of the day, and nobody else does that. Make sure you come back every single day here. We have world-class guests, no matter what kind of trading you're doing. We have Joe in the midday on options, right? Neil and I putting through the trades. You can see our positions right there at the bottom. We've taken IBIT there. We've taken Palantir. We've talked about Nvidia all day as well. We're showing you all of this. No better place. Plus, you also get our watch list. I mean, that's curated, full of great ideas. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and just become part of this environment because we are here every single day, like half days, any day. Not Christmas.
Market open, we're here.
You know, yeah, market open, we're here. So, I mean, we'd probably come in Christmas, you know. I mean,
well, if the market was open.
If we're around, probably come in, you know. But, yeah, market not open that day. But anyways, enjoy it all. We're putting in the hours for you. You know, again, thank you for all the support. We have the best moderator in the business. So, you know, if you guys are part of the chat, it's a safe spot to be in there. We're kicking out, you know, those awkward statements and things like that. So again, such a great community. Be part of it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. And again, just join us every single day and let us prove to you what we're all about. That's, you know, that's the best that we can ask for, I feel like. Let us prove to you what we're all about.
That's what it's all about. And ultimately, and it's a great community too as well. That's the other thing. The only thing I want to add to that is, we have a fantastic trading community where everybody is just helping everybody else out. Like we get suggestion stocks that we're looking at, maybe we're not looking at, that we can, good ideas for trades across the board. So, you know, all the love out there. There was this random name on the locator, ET, 3.9 million to the buy side. It actually did move. I pulled it up just to see if there was an index action. Anytime a random stock that I don't know has a massive imbalance, my first thought is index action. I did not see one on this for today. So I don't think it's going into any of the indexes, at least not to our information, but it did spike. So again, this one was already breaking out. Imbalances came out, broke the high of the day, and made another move in there. What did we just have?
So I don't know what's going on in the chat right now, but Ramin, that might have worked. We just got a bunch of subscribers right there. Thank you to everybody for just subscribing right there. We did it. So nice move there. Thank you to everybody there on Streamlabs for letting us know about all those subscribers. So, all right, Neil, give one last word and then make your way over there because I know you want to stay.
That doesn't hit the like and subscribe button. Myself, I want to make sure that I'm completely set up over there, get everything locked and loaded, because it's going to be a big one.
It'll be wild.
But I don't want, if I got to say one thing is, it's not only about Nvidia today. You've got Palo Alto coming at 405. We're going to have Snowflake at 405. And then Nvidia's at 420. Okay. So we're not expecting to have Nvidia till 420. So we'll be going over the expectations. We're going to be going over the earnings that go through, any price action going into it. We can answer some questions if you guys want to put it in the chat there. So we do have some time before Nvidia comes out, unless they drop it early, which I don't think they've ever done. We're expecting them at 420. So I'm going to mosey on over to the deck.
All right, yeah,
great one there. Good luck. You're still in the IBIT, so good luck to that one. Yeah, heading back in. But it's going to be wild. This is the Super Bowl of earnings, everybody. Yeah. Everyone waits for Nvidia.
This is the Jake Paul fight of earnings.
Well,
it's not that hype, is it?
It's more hype than that.
Is it? The more hype than the most watched event of all time?
Nvidia earnings over Jake Paul. Okay, you know what? I don't have any money on the line. I don't bet on Jake Paul fights, but I got money on the line for Nvidia because I'm in the stock. So
yeah, that was a good money there for Jake Paul. All right, get over there. We only have 4 minutes to go. Again, thank you everybody for watching. We'll see if those imbalances flipped over at all now. So I don't really see them anymore. SMCI with a sell side imbalance there. So SMCI trying to go downside. I'll zoom in just a little bit more as we will wait to see what's going on. So again, now the viewers are going up. Look, everybody, thanks so much for subscribing. You know, we're going to be showing you every single thing you need to know about these earnings, right? So they're going to be coming out. You're going to get you those numbers, and then Neil will show you live charts as we go. So you're going to get the live look in on what Nvidia is doing. Like, is it bumping? Is it what exactly is going on with Nvidia? What goes bump in the night? We'll get that for you live with brand new level 2s, everything up there with Neil on the desk. So watch out there. We've got the Benzinga Pro platform in our ear, and we will get those to you as soon as they hit. Could come early, right? Join it. 420, that's not too late. Stay with Neil. He's going to also recap the market. So as Palo Alto comes in and all these guys start flying through, we'll have that for you, no doubt. Okay, let's just have a look at what it's doing then into the close, right? All right, it's not that it's not doing much, it's just not doing a lot right here into the close, so we'll get rid of that. There's Nvidia trying to go back up. I mean, I say a lot. We almost went back to the high of the day, which again, you know, for many of us would be a great trade. So that was a good one there, trying to bounce it off. Look, I mean, expected move of 8%. You add 8% to this name, you're in and about $11 or so to it. So you're at about 157, 158 there. So an expected return, I think if you're being, you know, somewhat cautious and if it hits it, you're up to that 160 marker. And on the downside, the same math works the other way, unfortunately. And that would put us into the 130s. So, you know, watch out right there if you are trading Nvidia into that. Those are the expected moves. Of course, we'll have it for you and we'll go over absolutely everything as they hit. So with only 3 minutes left. Look, hit the like button. When we started that little promotion there, we only had 500 likes. Now we're over 1,000 likes. And I see a lot of subscribers coming in on Streamlabs. So again, thank you so much for all of the love there on the show. We'll talk about, like I said, we'll show you P&Ls of who's making money at real trading and who's not. And we'll end the day right now with a stop out, unfortunately, of IBIT. So rant, we'll go like that. It does come out, it breaks through VWAP. We had the run into the high basically, and then the fade right back out. Should have got out of it. Basically a flatted trade one more time. That kind of sucks. We would have always liked to make money on that, but that doesn't mean that we won't get it again. I love IBIT. We'll continue to trade that, man. Joe, the guy's always buzzing and he's in the back. He's coming tomorrow and he was trading all about IBIT the other day and we really, really love that name. So again, that's what we're all about. Go over to @TraderTV Sean. We have over 482,000 subscribers as well. It's going to be all about Nvidia, man. 145 coming through. What's its brother doing? What is AMD doing? They say. And will this guy ever stop talking? Probably not. You're only going to hear me now for another minute. And there it is right now. AMD with a nice upside move as well. Oh yeah, by the way, this might be a good opportunity for me to get into something here that my wife has said I should be into. Elf Beauty today had a hit piece come through on it. Elf Beauty got absolutely smoked right down into its lows. And what a buying opportunity that was for Elf Beauty coming through again. Get your makeup while it's on sale down there at 105, blasting right back up to 120 again, as if that hit piece didn't even matter. I guess it didn't. It created a lot of volume right there at 11 o'clock. Elf Cosmetics downside. I like Ulta Beauty. When we were there in Buffalo a couple weeks ago for hockey, this Ulta store, we had to go there because, you know. Oh, by the way, my daughter just picked up new Uggs that I told her we should get them for Christmas. And my wife goes, no, you can't. It's changeover season. What? Okay, so here we go. With only 7 seconds left, Brendan, somebody run. Do a flying torpedo. 2 and 1. I mean, Ramin throws the thing at it there. That's all good there. I like that. Thank you, Ramin, for ringing that bell. They're so busy everywhere, we forgot to ring the bell. Oh, on that note, for everybody that has been wondering where Adara is, it's my understanding that back tomorrow from vacation, Adara will be here. So get ready for her. Brandon's been filling in, obviously, on the desk. She's normally the one ringing the bell and doing all those updates. So we'll get Adara very, very soon, as soon as tomorrow. But that's enough for me right now. Over 1.2K. Thank you so much. Oh boy, the viewers are getting excited now. Over 8,300 of you about to watch Neil put some damage on the board here in the market recap show. Everybody, I tip my cap to you. I say good luck with Nvidia. You know your boy is long, so we'll be celebrating on this print. Or will we? Stay tuned. It's 4:20. It's Neil. He's at the desk. He's ready to rock and roll. Ciao.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button. Yeah, that's right. We're here for the aftermarket, and it's all about the Super Bowl of earnings. You know, Nvidia is what everyone's concerned about because we all own it. We all love it, but it doesn't report till 4:20. So I see a few people in the chat. When does Nvidia report? We're expecting them at 4:20. We have a lot to get to before that. At 4:05, we're expecting both Snowflake and Palo Alto, the other two big earnings names. Just to go over something that happened very late there at the end of the day, if you're watching the crypto-related names, all very strong today. MicroStrategy failed to you-know-what out of that $500 breakout. 500 went to 504. This ended up right back at 475. I mean, losing the 50-period moving average on the simple, and just a huge pullback, still up 9.5%. But they accelerated to the downside at that close. So when you look at this move on the daily, it's going to be a heck of a wick that put in on a rejection to the $500 level, coming back in very, very heavily on MSTR. You would have seen Sean talk about IBIT, which made another Bitcoin making another all-time high in there today. It did not have the same type of drop. So there was a pullback, but it was all MSTR. Of course, you know it's leverage. You know it's going to outsize that move almost 100% of the time there. So MSTR does bear some watching. I'll keep my eyeballs on that one until we have the numbers out in a couple of minutes from Snowflake and Palo Alto. What are we expecting? Well, Snowflake, it is, look, you're expecting only 15 cents on the EPS, and the revenue they're expecting 900, which is actually a decline year over year. So the expectations aren't terribly high for Snowflake. The expected move is 11% on Snowflake. Last time it was 15%, but it was to the downside last time here for Snow. The good news on Snowflake is, well, how much worse can it get? It's broken a trend. Okay, I have this line drawn from the last time we talked about it. I'm in this one myself personally on a trade above the 50 period, holding back above here when it broke 117. And I have a target here in front of the 200 period moving average. So the expectations aren't super high in there for Snowflake. We are expecting them to drop any minute or two. But before we get to that, we got a poll. Will Nvidia beat or miss? I don't necessarily think that's the important question. I think they're going to beat. But just because they beat doesn't mean they go up. The earnings surprise, the beat has been declining. The surprise has been declining on Nvidia, 27 to 17 to 14 to 8%. And when it was only single-digit percentage beat on the earnings, on EPS, it went down 6% on its last beat. So I want it to be a surprise, be a big surprise for us, reversing that trend where suddenly our expectations are exceeded instead of just barely met with Nvidia. So will they beat or not? Might not be the overall story. What is going to happen? How big is it going to be? What do they say going forward? Is the guidance going to be clean? We want to make sure that growth is going to be there. Talk about the overheating with Blackwell. Obviously, there was some price action at the close here on Nvidia. That's why you see some wild action to the upside. So there was some, I guess, pressure relief to the upside going into the close. Sometimes that tells us something, but just because they were buying it into the close does not mean this stock is going to go up. So let's see what happens. I mean, I've seen that Robbie V saying he thinks the market's going to be a little bit disappointed, but then Kyle W in the chat, options market is bullish on it. The feeling to me going in is felt bullish, but I still want to see those numbers give us a beat of expectations that is big enough for us. Snowflake is now out, and they are screaming to the upside, 140, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. I'm just happy because I got this one in here, and I probably just got filled on a bit of a target. So I haven't seen the numbers come across the board on the wire for myself yet, but you have Snowflake now up 10% from close, 130 into 143. Now remember, the expected move on Snowflake was actually 11.7%. So for now, it's just gone pretty much into that level and then held like an absolute charm. So Snowflake absolutely ripping. I'm going to suspect we should have Palo Alto out, so just want to quickly jump over. Oh no, Pan Dubs. No, Pan W falling like a rock. Pan W now down 5%. It did break upside first through 400, now right back in through the downside. Unfortunately for Palo Alto, looks like it is not going to be a happy ending for them. The expected move was 7% or 8% on Palo Alto, so it essentially goes to that same level, catching a bit at 360. Good news for that 360. That's the line that we need to hold. 50 period on the daily is that bottom that needs to hold in the first place on Palo Alto. So the fact that it's catching a bit in front of it, I think is a bit of a good sign, but do not like what we see so far with Pan W. Snowflake looking okay, but Palo Alto, somehow I'm still not seeing the numbers on my platform there, but not looking very good for Pan W. Those are the two big earnings names that we're looking for before we got into Nvidia, and you've got Snowflake green, and wow, continuing to fly. Now Snowflake, okay, now we're churning. Now it's 12%. The expected move 11.5. This is what we want to see. You want to see it blow out. I'm happy for this. This is now, wow, out and about and way past the 200 period moving average. Oh goodness, we're going to see this 150 test. This could fill in the entire gap at some point to 170, which would be the perfect target. But what a move there on Snowflake as it just continues to go higher and higher and higher. We only got about 12 minutes to go. I'm going to be happy. Obviously, I own Pan W too.
That doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
Take it easy, my man Sean, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't like this action, then you don't like trading. Great look going into this on Snowflake. Sometimes it's about where it's come from more so than where it's trying to go, because where it's come from is the bottom, and a lot of times this is what's been happening in earnings season. The depressed names are the ones that are going, and the names that are at that top, and I'm looking at you, Palo Alto, you know, you're priced to perfection, you're at those highs, and then they end up selling it off, and it is what it is. And I know sometimes that's just how it is, but unfortunately for Palo Alto, it was a strong stock. It is a strong stock, but it is heading into the downside as we speak. Little bit of a disappointment, I'd say, for Pan Dubs. But overall, you got to be at least a little bit happy with the fact that a stock like Snowflake is going to go. I do want to double check to see if we have any early look on Nvidia, but just quickly through here, Pan W, they beat on EPS, 156 versus 148. Revenue also beat. Snowflake beat on EPS, 0.2 versus 0.15. Revenue was a big beat, 942 versus 898. So both stocks beat, top and bottom. One of them, red, because it was priced to perfection. The other one, absolutely screaming. The good news for Pan W, if you're going to find that silver lining, is that it's less than the expected move to the downside. That matters. That's why we go over it. But 150 just got tagged on Snowflake, so as far as I'm concerned, I don't swing trade very often. It's not really my thing, but I like a rounded bottom, especially when you then hold the 50-period moving average. And that's what Snowflake gave. I mean, wherever you wanted to get into it, there's a hold of the 50-period. There's your breakaway. There's your close above, and there's your breakaway. And now we've got the move past that 200-period moving average. That's what I like to see. I'm not saying it's an all clear on the stock, but let's be real. When you make a trade and it's about the technicals, then you just stick to the technicals. Had they lost today, it is what it is. Maybe I would have got stopped out, but we didn't. Nvidia still have to wait another 10 minutes or so till the expected earnings. They are falling a little bit here. So you got to watch out for this. A little bit of a drop here in Nvidia, only down a couple of points. 1% here, only down like about $1 from the close. So you are seeing a little bit of a pull to the downside in front of those earnings. I think a little bit of trepidation going into it on Nvidia. Just to go over a few things, we're going to get to it in 10 minutes or so when Nvidia comes out. We're expecting 74 cents on EPS. We're expecting $32.8 billion in revenue. That's a lot of money, last I checked. Expected move, 8.6. So it's at 145 now. You do your little bit of napkin math. Obviously, we're expecting about a $13 move. So if it's to the upside, then you get a breakout through that 150. If it was to the downside, it's almost priced exactly to the 50-period and prior support. This happens all the time. When you have an expected move, if there's a big support or resistance level, a lot of times it'll price itself right off. This is exactly what happens. Such an efficient market sometimes, not all the time. So if we do get downside, 133 is going to be the place that you want to look at. The call's not till 5 o'clock, where Jensen hopefully is going to give all the great guide in the world and all of the great news, which we need to see. I think the overheating concern, people are going to want to make sure he addresses that. So we'll stay tuned. The call will be later, but that 420 mark, you're going to see some wild action here on Nvidia. I just want to make sure, I'm going to go back to what was, at the end of the day, the biggest story and the biggest move, and that was that pullback on MicroStrategy. So Bitcoin with a small pullback, MicroStrategy dropped like a rock, $30. There is a bit of a bid catching here on MicroStrategy, which is important. I think it just went right into morning support, and then it filled. It filled the gap right into morning support at 465, 466, looking pretty good there. I love this in the chat. Anonymous, imagine being short Nvidia right now. If you short every single pop, eventually you're right. But I'll tell you right now, it ain't the longs that are quivering on Nvidia. It doesn't mean it's going to go up. But when the chart looks like this, which direction would you be afraid of? I wouldn't be afraid of the long, because overall, buying the dip has been the right way to go. This trend has been unbelievable. They've been beating expectations, and Nvidia has been the stock to own. It's gone meme crazy. It does that when you want to. It's been a flight to safety. On the day when everybody was afraid of geopolitical concerns, when Russia did their change of their nuclear policy, was the stock that got bought up the most that day. It was Nvidia. That was everybody's flight to safety, was to get more shares of Nvidia going into earnings, everybody. So this is a big one, because there was a lot of buying 2 days ago. And when we talk about there being a lot of buying 2 days ago, if we come to this chart, the market was tanking. We were tanking. And then Nvidia caught the 140 bid and then went almost 5% up. Nvidia going 5% 2 days before earnings, or I guess the day before earnings, that was unbelievable. So there were a lot of longs that got put in there on Nvidia, and I feel like those are those recent longs. Maybe you had some short covering. I have no idea. There's no way to be able to tell that, but there was a lot of recent longs that would have got put in. They're taking some shots on this one going into the earnings. So just to recap, it'll be at 420. We are expecting an 8.5% move. I would not be surprised if it's to the upside that we see a bigger move than that. If it's to the downside, 133 is that support, which I think should hold, especially considering it's right at that 8% mark there on Nvidia. Just to recap for everybody, it's 4:13. I want to make sure we get some time for some questions if anyone has them. Snowflake continuing to hold. It got to 150. Beat top and bottom for Snow. Beat top and bottom for PanW, but it wasn't a very good look for Palo Alto, unfortunately. The guidance looking pretty good for Snowflake as well. I mean, they're looking at Q4 exceeding the $900 million mark. But Palo Alto, while only being down 4%, they beat top and bottom, and it still got sold off, priced a little bit to perfection for sure. The earnings haven't even been released yet. You're right, Cammy. But I'm just in a good mood. Why? Because Nvidia is a Super Bowl of earnings. And because Snowflake gave me the goods. And I'm always happy when it does. Looks like there's an announcement from Snowflake here as well. They've made an announcement and an agreement to acquire Datavolo, enhancing their data engineering with scalable, unstructured data ingestion and integration for AI and ML applications. Financial terms not disclosed. So looks like in addition to earnings, Snowflake has announced an acquisition of Datavolo. Looks like, I think they're a private company there. So looks like it is going to be a good one. They're not really reacting when there's no financial terms disclosed. Like, I don't know whether that is going to be like cash or whether it's going to be stocks. If there was a disclosure that it was shares, my guess is it would be heading back into the downside there on Snowflake. So that's the only new news for Snow. Kirshner saying they are short Nvidia. Good luck with that one for sure. And everyone has to take a shot. But you know what? When you make a trade, as long as you have a plan of action and you have yourself an out, that's what's going to be important. Palo Alto splitting. I haven't seen a date on this. PanW wants to go for the split. Hey, it makes a lot of sense to me. I didn't see a date on that just yet. When it hits the wire, I'll let you guys know. But Palo Alto's still trading to the downside here. Again, it was a beat top and bottom. Unfortunately for them, the outlook, not what everyone wanted to see there on Palo Alto. Yeah, I don't like that. You want to see where the money's going to be spent. And I kind of felt like you have a really good moat on the cybersecurity names. And Palo Alto, maybe it was just too high. And when you look at what happened to the space, CrowdStrike on Palo Alto's earnings also pulling back. And CrowdStrike was already selling off today and having a weak day. Part of that could be that it filled in the gap. I'm a little bit worried about this one. They filled in the entire gap from when they had the security issues. And then now that's turning into resistance. And Palo Alto now down off of a beat. That's the kind of thing that could put a bit of a temporary top in there for CrowdStrike. I'm not saying I'm going to come in looking short on CrowdStrike, but I mean 360 speaks for itself on Crowd. I was looking for a breakout above this level, and all of a sudden it's not looking nearly as good as it could be. Yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment there. And do not sleep on CrowdStrike. Those sympathy plays are important. When Nvidia drops, we're going to be looking at things like SMCI. Why? Well, obviously a big client, right? They're packaging and selling Nvidia products. SMCI is a mover. It's down 8% today. It's down a bajillion% on the year. Okay, well, not on the year, but from the highs, because it started from down here. And they have their own concerns, and they obviously have to get through some of that. But a good print for Nvidia and good strong growth is going to possibly help Supermicro get back to the upside on their own. So I think that's going to be an important one to watch. We're going to be looking at some AMD, competitor to Nvidia. AMD not necessarily looking as good. It did have a late rally, but down 1.4% today on the daily chart. It speaks for itself. This stock is not Nvidia. They don't have the market share of Nvidia. However, strong growth, in a sense, does mean the addressable market is still there for AMD. So you want to see the reaction that they are going to have as well. And if there were, let's just say there were some overheating issues installing the servers, in theory, that could be a good thing for NVIDIA. You're going to want to watch Dell as well. Dell should be moving around, and then Qs as well. Your DJ Deckard, you're right. It is kind of crazy calling them a competitor. In the space, it's essentially a monopoly, but there aren't many other sympathy plays to look at that are kind of directly in the same spot. Like you're looking at things that are adjacent, like an SMCI, like a Dell, which is what we're there for. So about 1 minute to go, gonna keep it locked and loaded on NVIDIA. We're at 13, Ramin? 13,000 of you watching for NVIDIA earnings live, the Super Bowl of earnings. So don't forget, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We'll be with you live to see the price action. I'll let you know. Like I said, the expected move 8.5%, 133 is the support if it is to the downside. If it is a breakout, well before it gets to that expected move, you're breaking an all-time high, which is at 149.77 on NVIDIA. We're expecting 74 cents a share. We're expecting revenues of 32.8 million, billion, I should say. If it's million, then we're in a heck of a lot of trouble if it's in the millions. No, it's going to be in the billions for sure. So NVIDIA, what everybody is here for and what everybody is waiting for. Let's be real. So I say in the chat, I've seen a few people in the chat say that they are long, most of them long. I saw a couple of people say they were short. I saw 145. I say good luck to everybody. Whatever position you happen to have, I want to respect, the fact that some people are betting one thing and some people are betting another, right? But I'm excited if it goes up because I own it in my long term. It is what it is. So we'll see what happens here with NVDA. I, like everybody else, this is the kind of thing that's going to move the market. So even if they get a beat, if the reaction is negative, you're probably going to see the Qs go down even a percent, even if we're like 10% to the downside. You're going to watch the Qs. It's going to move the SPY as well. So it is 420. I haven't seen any rapid action yet on NVIDIA, but you are past the point that we should have the numbers. You're seeing it here. We're still hanging 146, just slightly under the 146 level. Now we're starting to head to the downside. There is the sell. Oh boy. Now we're starting to head to the downside of NVIDIA. I'm going to zoom it out here. We're at days low, through days low, now 141. It's dropping heavy like a rock here on NVIDIA, unfortunately. So we do have revenue of 35.1 billion. That beat expectations of 32.8. Wow, data center revenue, 17% up quarter over quarter. So that looks pretty good. That was a good revenue beat. You have 78 cents a share. Yuck. 78 cents a share versus 74. That is a smaller upsized surprise than last time. So I think that's the reason you're getting a reaction to the downside. So there it is. Remember, we were showing you guys what I needed to see here. The percent beat on EPS. I wanted a reversal of that trend. I wanted good guide, which I haven't seen the guidance yet, and I wanted to make sure the revenue was there. So you did have a miss, at least in terms of reversing the trend of the beats. So NVIDIA to the downside, unfortunately. So hey, I saw a couple people were short in the chat. Congratulations. Hopefully you're going to take some profit in there. Why only 5.5% to the downside? You were less than the expected move. I was pretty convinced on a downside move, you weren't going to lose the 50 period initially. And that's exactly what has happened. You're not even through first support here on the daily, which is at 137. 133 would be the bottom on the expected move. 133 would also be the bottom of that 50 period moving average. If we look at what's going on with the Qs, it's a bit of a muted reaction because it's not overwhelming. It's not double digits down on NVIDIA, so you're not seeing a huge reaction. Qs down just a small amount here, testing the 500 level. SPY down a small amount, testing underneath 490. So you are getting a drag to the downside. The guide not looking that great either. So a bit of a disappointment here, I'd like to say. But the Qs and the SPY holding steady because it's not disastrous. Now, the last time NVIDIA reported and traded down, it was over 6%. It was 6.5%. This right now would be, it's 5%. And still trying to catch a bid. Nowhere near the 133, so that support is definitely still going to be in play. But if you were long going into it, you're in trouble. So we have some quotes here. We've got Jensen saying, AI is transforming every industry, company and country. Enterprises are adapting and revolutionizing workflows. Industrial robotics investments are surging and breakthroughs in physical AI. I mean, all the positive margins 73 to 75%. Those are fantastic. Operating expenses looking to be for 4.8 billion. I mean, the numbers in this particular case, they're good. They just didn't blow it out of the water. But hey, you know what? The dip's being bought anyways. The support came in at 138, so we're wrong by $5. I thought 133 was going to be the bottom. All Nvidia said was, nah, we're not going that far. Nvidia decides we're going into literally prior support, and then they're going to buy it right back up. There you go. So all you did here is probably rinse some of the short-term longs. Now, obviously, anybody that was playing options, when you get an inside move, you're all kaputs. It didn't go up, it didn't go down. But that said, those short-term stops that got run, if we're just going to simply hold first support on the daily, what happened the last time it did that on Nvidia? The last time Nvidia pulled back and held first support, you made a new all-time high. That's what stocks do. So I'm still pretty excited for Nvidia overall. Ultimately a bit of a disappointment, but let's be real. If the reaction is to buy the you-know-what dip, and you know what I wanted to say there, but I won't because we're on YouTube and I want to get us banned. But when they buy the dip, when it wasn't overwhelming numbers, that's a good sign, everybody. But Nvidia, bit of a disappointment. I'm still not terribly happy with Palo Alto as they're now right back down to 370 bucks. But again, inside the expected range of 5%. It was Snowflake that ends up with that big, bad, you-know-what beat and holding on to the highs. So snow with the win. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Just sprinkle an earnings beat on the stock that is beaten up. And this is a theme that we've been seeing, and I keep saying it over and over again. Sometimes it's about where it is. And Snowflake has not performed well, but it was making a rounded bottom. At this point, the shorts have been winning for a long time. When you get a beat in those circumstances, sometimes you get a big upside move. When you have something like a Palo Alto at those highs, or an Nvidia at those highs, expectations are also up there, and you're priced to perfection. I wanted to see it have a bigger EPS beat, talking like 15, 20% higher than expectations, not 4%. And we needed the guidance to be better as well. Some comments here as well. Blackwell production shipments scheduled to begin Q4 2025 will continue to ramp up for fiscal 2026. Hopper and Blackwell systems have certain supply constraints, but demand for Blackwell seemed to exceed supply for several quarters. That's bullish any way you want to cut it. Demand exceeding supply is just simply bullish. At the end of the day, everybody is buy, and build, and spend, which has been good. But if you're starting to slow down the amounts that we're beating, then the price isn't going to go parabolic every single time. Was eyeballing Meta, because you did just see there, Meta catch a little bit of a bid. This is moving, like Sean said, this is moving alongside of Nvidia. Go down first, bounce when Nvidia bounces, and now pulling back as we saw Nvidia pull back. Everything in the AI space or related to the AI space is going to have a chart just following Nvidia. Q's more of a muted move whatsoever. But the conference call, I just saw in the chat there, Pooja, conference call for Nvidia, 5 o'clock. We're expecting 5 o'clock there. As I just heard, the peanut gallery, which is Obi, he was asking something about Pooja. I don't know what you just said. Yell again there, Obi, if you get a chance. I didn't hear exactly what you said. Maybe you know Pooja in the chat. But like, he's out there watching the earnings just like everyone else is. I'm a little bit disappointed, obviously, but there's always a silver lining. Silver lining for Palo Alto, found support without an outsized move. Silver lining for Nvidia, where you're hearing the demand is what it wanted to be. It did have a beat top and bottom. They're expecting growth to be good. Data center up 70%. Gaming revenue actually up 14% as well. So, it hasn't been bad at the end of the day here for Nvidia. I mean, disaster would be double digits to the downside. Last earnings, 6% down. This time, 3% and catching a little bit of a bid. But it's not an overwhelming one. An overwhelming move would be trapping some people short and breaking out the top. We might have to wait for that tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Obviously, when we come back in the morning, I always let the price action dictate. And I promised you that we'd look at a couple of other names. Obviously, Nvidia going to the downside was not going to be good for SMCI. That pulled right back in underneath $26. back down to 10%. So I think this is going to be under a little bit of pressure. You wanted to see a positive reaction there. I think SMCI needed to get dragged up by these guys. It would have helped for sure. Top VoIP, where is the $8 move on Nvidia? Well, I can tell you where it was. Your $8 move was simply to sell at 146 if you had the wherewithal, or to buy at 138. The only thing I can point to for the 138, which is not the level I was looking at for a bid, is simply that's where we bounced yesterday. All it did is bounce at the same price yesterday. I was looking at 133 because it was at 50-period moving average. Nvidia was too strong to even get there. So as usual, Nvidia does give you plenty of volume and volatility, but you know what we're going to do tomorrow, which is trade post-earnings, which is what really matters. What does the big money do tomorrow morning at the open when going over these numbers? What's the reaction when we're looking at what our good friend and the CEO Jensen has to say on the call at 5 o'clock, and then the reaction live for you every single day tomorrow morning at 8:30. So make sure you tune in, hit the like, hit the subscribe, make sure you get notifications because you don't want to miss. We're here every single day for you guys at Trader TV Live, whether it's earnings or not, whether it's a Fed day, rain, shine, heck. If it's a holiday in Canada, we're coming in anyways. When you get a little bit of a Fed pivot, although that's some weak sauce there by Jerome. You got to have a better pivot move than that, man. Get your up your post game there, Jerome Powell. We'll be here for you guys at 8:30. But just a quick little recap before we get a little bit of rundown action for you guys and a bit of roll call. Nvidia beat top and bottom, but it was a smaller beat than expected. Well, it was a smaller surprise beat than the previous, which has been now 4 quarters in a row of declining surprise EPS beats for them. Shout out to everybody for the record attendance. I wish I could tell you Palo Alto had a good day. Pan W still down 4%, holding the bid, managed to bounce off the 360, but it was Snowflake that took the cake. 150 on Snowflake. Like I said, let us know, let us know, let us know. If you've been watching, it's the only swing play that I'm in recently. Is Snowflake, so I'm a happy camper with that one. Obviously, I already rung the register. I would have gotten filled on running the register, still holding on the last third. So shout out to anybody that is with that play. J Trade just said in the chat, what about Intel? What about Intel? Intel stinks. Let's take a look. Before we get into the roll call, because you asked, what about Intel? Intel down 1.4%, barely moved, and it is still an absolute dog. Although, hey, guess what? Intel's above the 50-period moving average. Good for you, Intel. You may not be relevant anymore, but you're above the 50 period, which means you're trying to trend up. That's always a good sign. But you know what's also a good sign? When we thank everybody in our community for all the support we had, record viewers for the aftermarket show today, even though Nvidia didn't moon, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Let's get a little roll call, and if you're not familiar with this, throw your name in. Make sure you join the chat. First of all, it's subscribers only chat.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
Ramin loves that one. We pity the fool. Make sure you get yourself in the chat, not only to ask questions during the live show, but to participate in this community and get your name read in the roll call. So all you got to do is type any kind of a message. Preferably the message you send is a big shout out and thank you to any one of the members of our team. Give a big shout out and thank you to Fabian and Ramin and Andre, our crew here. Give a big shout out to the midday crew. Joe, Satea, and Sharif every single day. Give a big shout out to Brennan and Adara on the news desk. Give a big shout out and a thank you to my man Sean Katina, who's always giving you the banging trades every single day. Give a big shout out and thanks to Bears versus Bulls, the #1 moderator on YouTube, always making sure we have the best community. So drop that thanks in there, and then we're going to read these names off if I even have enough voice left for you. So here we go. I see you, T-Man. Yo, what up? Scott Angel in the chat, Kim Jong-un, future day trader, billionaire, Silverado Blue, Darwin, what up? Reloge in the chat, Darmenda Patel, VRO's trades, Bears versus Bulls, shout out to you. Antonio, Bull Shark, Blue Arrow, Lauren Doves, Professor Love, John Smooth in the house. Now we're going fast. Rivian Millionaire, love you, brother. Melissa Murphy, Marty, Christopher, and Nick S. Nephew with a capital P, Holla, what up? Flaniero, Dollar Bill, y'all, Carlton, 75068, LBM Photos, holy shh. I'm not going to say that. You know what's up. Seth NGO, Sean Speedy B747, Eliza, KNT, Nakul in the chat, Michael Limu, Ed Clark, Volky, Gifted Kings, Magic Country Ranch, Robert Liu, Janik Patel, what up? Dakota Blackburn, shout out to you as well. Strobe 9, we got Waffle, Intel Dog, yeah, we dog all the time. Vic Yan Novak, Sebastian, what up to you? Dexter Smith, now we're flying in here. Blue Arrow, once again, the random. Wasim in the chat. Eli 7721, I'm not gonna get you all bonks. Still, I saw very quickly through there. Pattern Day Trader, what up? And we've got the last one I'm gonna read, Master Cool and Grand Toro, Hertz Scrambler, what up to all of you? It was Nvidia earnings, flying like an absolute rocket ship into earnings, but dropping only 3 points to the downside. But it is still a disappointment. It caught a bid. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but that's why we trade. Not because you can predict the future, but you trade so that you can make plays, and it's all about probabilities. Just win more than you lose. That's what we're all about here. Take the trades. Don't get too much of a bias based on what you see in the earnings move after market. You still got a full day of the trade tomorrow. That's the best thing about Trader TV Live and the markets. We get to do it all again right back here at 8:30 in the morning. We'll cover the reaction to the earnings. We'll cover the reaction in the overall market and the rest of the Mag 7 and all the chip space. So a bit of a disappointment here for Nvidia, down 3 points. But we'll still be here to trade it tomorrow. We're Trader TV Live, and I'll see you guys bright and early at 8:30.